The Blue Baggers went as close as you could without winning last week, possessing the best player in the game, Patrick Cripps. They test themselves against the best team of last year in Geelong. Both sides hunting their first win of the young season. It is Carlton and Geelong to start round 2 of the AFL Premiership season. The reigning premiers on our air tonight. My name is Corbin Middlemass. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and now streaming through the ABC Listen app. It was a typical Melbourne day. We had thunderstorms this morning, and if anything, it was a bit warm walking to the ground tonight when it got to 24 degrees. It's currently in the low 20s, and if anything, a little cool. There is a late change as well. Jack Martin is out with a calf complaint, so he's not playing for the Blues. Mark Piternat takes his place in the selected team. So a bigger lineup for the Blues with the two ruckmen. He'll partner Tom De Koning in that role tonight. Lockie O'Brien is again the sub for Carlton. Meanwhile for Geelong, their sub is Cooper White, who is one of two inclusions along with Jack Bowes, who makes his club debut. Cooper White makes his AFL debut tonight, the 20-year-old left footer out of the Geelong under-18s. Our Friday night crew is here. Cameron Ling, Mick Moldhouse, Tim Hodges is down on the boundary, and Matt Clinch is a big game player. He's here as well with us on a Thursday night to start round 2. Good evening, Clinchy.
Good evening, Corby. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm the Mark Piternat. I come in for Kel, who unfortunately has a scratchy voice tonight, so cheerio to Kel, and hopefully week 2 delivers a starting match in which is similar to the narrative of all the opening round matches. The Cats obviously winning 16 games on the trot on the path to their premiership, and all of a sudden it's their first loss for some time. So can they get it going? You've got to go back to 2015, the last time they didn't feature in finals, the last time they started 0-2. So probably some questions and concerns that they want to get out of the blocks. And the Blues, well, unfortunately their record hasn't been great against the Cats. They've only won 2 of their last 14. And it doesn't feel like they packed the same punch as what they did at the start of last season. So no George Hewitt, all of a sudden a bit more pressure on the shoulders of Paddy Cripps without Sam Walsh for another few weeks. So can Carlton rediscover their best? They want to try and get some wins under their belt.
So much going on. Teams have dropped for round 2, the rest of the game. So we'll bring you up to date with those later in the broadcast. There's still an appeal going on from a reportable offence from last weekend. Shane McAdam has his appeals hearing tonight, trying to beat a 3-match ban. So we'll keep you updated with how the Adelaide forward fares on that front. I'm pleased to say Cameron Ling is here, but if not a little bit banged up. You've got an injury after week 1 of the season. Cameron Ling, nice to see you.
Great to be with you, Corbs. Looking forward to this game, yes. I wasn't trying to make a comeback or anything like that. I was silly enough to go for a run and just try and stay fit, and stepped, and I wasn't looking where I was going, stepped where I shouldn't have, and ended up on the edge of a path, and then fell and tumbled and did the ankle and all cut up the leg and all that fun stuff, Corbs. But don't worry, I'll push through, because once you declare yourself fit, you're out there and you've got to be ready to go.
So proper fracture, break, you're in a moon boot?
Waiting on X-ray results for that one, Corbs, but hopefully just torn ligaments.
Well, you're going too fast.
Oh, way too fast. Should have
Bite
seen
your
me.
tongue. You reckon he's got quicker in age.
I was trying to compliment him right from the start.
Well, we can
Thank
compliment
you,
him. Well, you can't really make a draft horse into a greyhound, mate.
That's what I came for, just that beautiful sympathy and caring. And
You'll always find it here on Grandstand AFL. Mick set it up for me tonight. So 2 key forwards at either end, Charlie and Harry, other end of the ground. You've got Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins. Arguably the best player consistently over the last 10 years, Patrick Dangerfield up against Patrick Cripps, the best player according to the umpires from last year. Premiership teammates in the coach's box with Michael Voss up against Chris Scott. Great contrast wherever you look, and the two brothers in Sam and Tom De Koning playing against one another for just the second time.
It is fantastic, and there'll be probably a lot of people left on the Westgate Bridge wanting to get here, because Lingy was just walked in right on the last second. So it should be a big crowd. It should be a good game. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit of a history buff, and Clinchy's nailed it. Geelong just seem to have the game style that knocks over Carlton. I think Hewitt is a big loss, but Walsh is a bigger one. Now, okay, he won't be available for a few weeks. Geelong are a year older again. They were the older side last year, a year older again. Radaglia is now being played from back, forward to back. We're seeing all sorts of movement from Geelong. I wouldn't be overly embarrassed about last week. Geelong, I thought Collingwood were the better side most night, but Geelong hung in there right until the death. So Geelong just know how to score, and, I keep on saying Mackay and Curnow are the next Cameron and Hawkins, but Cameron and Hawkins are still there. And they will want to be. They've got enough pride to be wanting to be still number one by the end of the year.
The mental side of football is massive.
Yeah.
We know that at all times. But isn't it funny when you think Geelong so dominant last year? Their preliminary final, their grand final, 70 points, 80 points, 16 in a row. Unbelievable season. They could be 0-2 though after tonight, and that little whisper just starts happening in your head. Have I done everything right over the pre-season? What we were working on as a team, was it the right thing? And 2 wins in the middle of the year for a mature team 2 losses in the middle of the year for a mature team like Geelong wouldn't be anything to worry about at all. But if you're 0-2, it does strange things to you.
Did you play back-to-back?
No, never won back-to-back.
Well, that's why I knew. But do you ever ask the question now that you've retired and you look back and you go, did I have the same hunger? And that's going to be the question tonight. I think sometimes teams get a bit lucky with back-to-backs because the opposition doesn't improve and you just get a bit of momentum and stuff. And we've seen it through this last couple of decades with Brisbane, Hawthorn and Richmond.
Yep.
But this side is quite capable of going back-to-back. Make no mistake about it. Because
you're right. I mean, you could... if you wanted to grade with a really sharp pencil, you could say unbelievable circumstances in every occasion with the Brisbane run,
Yep.
The Kohler allowance or whatever that happened then, Hawthorn, the 2 new teams coming in,
that's right.
Draft was affected, and then Richmond was a COVID year to go back-to-back. It was the only time we've seen it in 20 years.
So, but what you're saying, Lee, really, because I know you're such a big rep for Selwood, and same here, he's not in the side, but Dangerfield takes over, and Paddy Dangerfield, to me, is look, he hasn't proven he's right with the captaincy, but for all intents and purposes, he's going to be a great leader and that sort of stuff. But what gets me is that everyone's just another year older. Does it mean as much? We saw Smith here in the wing have 30-odd, so you'd suspect that he's still in touch with what he wants to play. But are the kids coming through? Are they, because they've played in a premiership, are they going to be just as hungry or more? You've got to be more. You can't be less.
That's right.
So you've got to be better than what you were last year.
Asking about my experiences, we were the best side for a big portion of 2008 in our potential back-to-back year, and then didn't perform on the ultimate day. It's not as obvious as we sometimes make it out to be. You don't all of a sudden go, I just won a premiership. You know what, I'm just going to get lazy and do nothing. And it's so much more subtle than that. But you're right, it can be there. Do I do every single recovery session? Do I do the extra recovery session? Do I come in on my day off because I want to do another touch hand session? As a group, am I bonding with my teammates as much as I did last year? Are we working on those little things to the nth degree? And so subtly as a whole group, you all drop 0.25%, but across 10, 12, 15 players, that might be
4
enough.
5%, yeah. See, I've done it as a player and as a coach. In 1980, a long time ago, we improved our side in 1980. We got Morris Rioli and didn't make the top 4. There was only 4 in those days. But the next year, we went and played off in the grand final. So and I was a player then. And you said, did you dot the I's and cross the T's? I sometimes now question myself. As a coach, 92, 94, what happened in 93? We didn't have a worse side, we had a more experienced side, but we were able to rebound in 94 and win a premiership. So there was a mental lapse, and maybe that was the first premiership that was outside of Victoria, and maybe the players and the club itself, and me included, maybe that 1% was enough not to play off in the grand final. So this will be the test. I reckon today could be a real test because Carlton are undermanned in the middle, and that's where Geelong are pretty strong, and they need to get hold of it.
Can I say something about Carlton? If they want to take that next step, is that ruthless edge.
Yep.
So as part of it, I wouldn't make it a huge deal, but within the group, I would be driving. Let's send them 0-2. They're the champs. Let's stuff up their start of the season and go. I know we haven't got a good record, all that sort of stuff, but let's go. Let's really make it tough for this team, who still thinks they can just come and go back-to-back. That's the ruthless edge I want to see from Carlton tonight as a group.
Yeah, is there anything from last week against Collingwood that Carlton could target against Geelong? Is it the speed of ball movement?
Yes.
You look back, the Cats are only conceding over 100 points once last year. That was against the Swans in round 2. Collingwood did it to them last week. They kicked 9 goals on the trot, 8 goals on the trot. It's unlikely to happen again, but is there anything Carlton can target from last week?
It is the speed of ball movement. It is the ability to dominate through the middle and get control and get it in there. Sam DeConing had a brilliant year last year. He's still very young. Asava Radicalee has played one game of AFL football as a defender. Jack Henry's not there. Tom Stewart's not there. Put them under pressure. Just go at them enough. And that Carlton forward line, we know how talented it is. Why not? That's where you can worry Geelong a little bit, because Geelong's midfield, Mick, I know they were brave last week. I agree with you. Their midfield got belted last week.
It did. Last week was the first time for ages that I've seen so many goals scored behind the line. Like it was 4v2. Now you go 4v2. Is that 4 forwards? Can't be. Yes, it is. 4 forwards at both ends of the ground against 2 were able to score. I think it was 8 times. I can 4 for both sides. Now, Carlton, historically, going back what you said again, Clinchy, they don't score big against Geelong. They've got to run the ball. Geelong, like any other side, if you run the ball, you are highly vulnerable.
Last 6 games they've played against the Cats, they haven't kicked over 60 points.
Yeah,
so that's a low bar to try and climb tonight. Tim Hodges is with us on the boundary. Good evening, Hodgie.
Hello, Corbin. Hello, crew. Nice to be with you. Patrick Cripps won the toss. The Blues will kick to the punt road end. It is a perfect night for footy. A crazy day, really, in Melbourne town with the heavy storms this morning, but currently a balmy 22 degrees. A slight swirling breeze. If anything, it is probably favouring that punt road end that the Blues will kick to. The crowd is a talking point, guys. It's average. It's got to be said. The traffic outside is a complete nightmare. I know that for a fact. So there will be plenty of late arrivals, but at the moment, I think there'd be only about 35,000 people in. The MCC were expecting 60,000, so that is remarkably down. Just repeating the one late change, Jack Martin out of the 22. He woke up this morning with calf tightness from the captain's run yesterday. Mark Pitney comes into that team. So it is a very tall Blues team. The subs for the Blues, Lockie O'Brien. For the Cats, Cooper White on debut. It's only the 10th game of the year, but already the stakes are pretty high down here.
The last premiership team to start their defence, 0-2, was Hawthorn in 2009. They didn't make the 8. Carlton are trying to make sure that path is ahead of Geelong tonight. It is the Blues and the Cats to open round 2 of the AFL Premiership season on Grandstand AFL. You're with Matt Clinch.
DeConing, that's Tom DeConing up against Stanley. Cannons into him, and it's Blitzhauser gets the first clearance alongside Patrick Cripps as he kicks to half forward for Geelong. Doherty picks it up, missed the intended target. Cripps with the hand pass to Sard, almost run down by Close. Squeeze the kick out to the southern wing. Hughes leads the foot race in front of Motlop and looks up to half forward. It's wide of Jeremy Cameron. McGovern couldn't get a hand to it. Cameron can't run under the footy. And it runs out of play. 60 metres out from the Cats' goal. As Hodgie May mentioned, Geelong heading to the city end in this opening quarter. Blitzouts and Paddy Cripps to start with.
Exactly right, Clinchy. You called it. Blitzarp started in that centre bounce straight to the Carlton skipper.
Blitzarps and TDK, DeConing for the Blues, wins the hit out down to Ed Curnow, tackled, dispossessed, spills to Chera, gives it to Cripps, Cripps loose handle, got it to Hollins, kicks down the wing but turns it over. There's Sam DeConing for the Cats. Hand pass to Buse, gives it to Zach Guthrie, to brother Cam, kicks inside the forward 50. Newman getting back, no mark, falls through to Wiedering, back to Newman by hand, tumbles a kick out of the defensive arc but it's chopped off. And Zach Guthrie with the intercept mark, 70 out for Geelong.
Spots the Irishman, Zach Tui in the middle of the ground. He marks just short of half forward for the Cats. Veers out to the right, gets good purchase, smothered though. Great work by Durden. It spills to Fisher, Carlton on the break. Mackay over the top to Durden, dodging and weaving as he gets around Tui and then looks for Motlop at half forward. He marks just inside 50. Charlie Curnow streaming back to goal. He sends it in that direction. He's out the back. He'll mark. And he'll go back and kick from inside the goal square for the first goal inside the opening 2 minutes.
It was the smother that did it, an outstanding smother in the forward half of the ground.
Very unusual for Zach Tui to be smothered too,
Yeah.
'cause he's always alert, but here's another goal being scored in behind the
Over
line.
back, yeah, you're right.
For the dream start for the Blues, Charlie Curnow comes in and gives Carlton fans something to scream about to start with. They're on the board here at the MCG. Thursday night footy of round 2. The Blues 1 straight 6 to the Cats, yet to score. They took just the 3 marks inside 50. Mackay and Curnow last week. Charlie took just 1. He has 1 already tonight.
And after that smother, Mick, and it's no surprise because when you get a good turnover like that, you should go for it. But those Carlton forwards knew it.
Wow.
There was 5 of them just
Screaming.
sprinting forward.
Yeah. And Geelong didn't go with them though. And I know that sometimes you're on the back foot, Lingy, but my undertaking of a back line is that you hold and hold until you have got control, and then you start to drift in or go in. Not willy-nilly like we saw last week, and they got caught out. Caught at Collingwood, kick 100 points.
Yep. Just some numbers to back up your take, Mick. Across the competition, scores from the defensive half last week, 43%. So up 7%. That's competition-wide on last year's average.
Yeah, well, and it would have been very high with that game last week too.
Crooked bounce in the middle from umpire Roseberry, chucks it up the second time. Tom DeConey had it, lost it in the tackle. Here's Dangerfield for Geelong, somehow got it out to blitz halves. Links up with Holmes out the front of the centre square. The 1-2 with Cameron. Holmes chucks it on the left peg, floats a kick into the pocket. Hawkins hunting it, allows it to bounce. Sart just whacks it away. Chase on for Isaac Smith, collects just inside the boundary line for Geelong, running out of room, gives it to close, tackled, lost it. Sard comes up with it, off her Blues. Cherry's hand pass, a shocker, went straight to O'Connor. He kicks it inside 50 and Stengel marks against the boundary line, 30 out, left forward pocket.
Skill error. I know it's early in the season, but for a talented player, that was absolutely give me.
Stengel's going to go on the J curve and hook it across the body. Kicking from around 35, his kick pulls it too much to the near side and a behind. Geelong's first score, Carlton 1 straight. We're 4 minutes in on Grandstand AFL. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Mick Moldhouse, Cameron Ling and Tim Hodges with you this evening. One late change, Martin out of the Carlton selected side and Mark Pitternet is in the team.
Mitch McGovern quickly into Wiedering, who feeds it back to McGovern. They're out of the defensive 50. Up to Silvani, who almost juggled the mark on the wing. Zach Guthrie right there with him. It's gathered by McGovern. He kicks out in the southern wing, and Motlop has space. Marks in front of Hughes. Up towards half forward. Charlie Curnow came charging out, but Tui set himself well in front and takes the intercepting mark.
Started on the wing last week, kicked the first 2 goals for the Cats, but now down back with Tom Stewart being out. That's not a surprise, just a bit more experience back there to support Radigalea and DeConey.
He whacked his head on the ground too, Zach Tui. We're interested to see how he comes up from that.
Carlton by 5 points. Isaac Smith around the southern wing. It's picked off by the Blues. Cripps combines with Ed Curnow. They lose it there though, sliding in bows for the Cats. Hand pass to Dangerfield. Squeeze the kick out to the southern wing. Stengel's in a mismatch. It's spoiled down by Young. Gets it to the advantage of the run. As looking up as Hollands, but his kick is a bit wide.
It'll be a push in the back there, Clinchy. Back where the kick came from. Stengel with a big shove.
Yep.
Right in Oliver Holland's back.
Well, if Cripps is getting tagged, he's had 3 good possessions.
Hollands pulls the trigger back to the centre square for Sard. He links up with Chera, kicks into oncoming traffic. Myers knocks it down for Geelong. Feeds a hand pass into the path to Rowan. Unguarded goal square from 75 out. Needs a kind bounce. It skids through. A long-range bomb from downtown for Gary Rowan. Geelong with their first of the night. And the game has its first lead change. The reigning premiers 1-1, Carlton 1 straight, 6 minutes in on Grandstand AFL. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Corbin, well done to Mick Moldhouse. He spotted Zach Tui's heavy landing. The doctor went straight to him and said, "You've got to come off. We have to check you out under the new protocols." So he's just arrived at the bench with the doctor and he'll be looked at right now.
Yeah, it was a good one because it did stun him, and they generally take it could well be a 20-minute one, that one. Chera he's made 2 horrible mistakes. One could have cost and one has cost. So he's got a little bit of work to do to make up for that.
2 smothers have led to 2 goals.
Yeah, one
each way.
Oh, he gave one with a hand pass away. So it's a hand pass down the... Oh, sorry, yeah, both teams with the smothers, yeah.
Tom DeConey for the Blues, takes out of the ruck, kicks the half forward, but only as far as Bowes, the new cat. He works it back in the middle of the ground to Stanley. Looks up to half forward, Jessica Cameron the target, worked his way in front and takes the mark. Made Lewis Young right on 50. Cameron well within range. Just trying to get the man on the mark exactly where he is, as he'll look to veer out to the left.
Well, he can get this post high from that distance. He does kick a long ball. He's right on. He'll kick 53, 54 out.
Cameron from about 55 strikes at the left, bends back right beautifully. A long-range bomb. And the Cats with a couple of quick goals in succession after Blues kick the opener They have a 7-point lead. 2-1-13 to the Blues, 1 straight 6. 7 minutes gone on ABC Sport with Mick Malthouse and Cameron Lee.
You're in form early tonight, Nick.
Yeah, he called it beautifully.
He left me with nothing to say. He summed it up so well.
This game, it may well show 1 goal to 2, but the 7-1 inside 50s and the dominance of Geelong's midfield is a absolute worry to Carlton right now.
It was a midfield that I imagine would have had some heat put on it during the week. Chris Scott isn't one to rant and rave, but he would have had a strong word to that group. They were really outplayed last week. So far, early on, they've responded pretty well.
Blues with the first goal, Geelong the next 2. They lead it by 7 points. Stanley wins the head out. Still no clean possession in the middle. Free kick for Tom DeConey, pushed in the back. Hunting the footy against brother Sam for just the second time tonight. Lays a hand pass off to the lefty Newman. Kicks to centre half forward. Mackay working his way to the front. Wants it free and he gets it. As he's jumped the tugged. And right on cue there is Sam DeConey, who kept Mackay goalless the last time these two teams met. Harry's got a chance to kick one here tonight. 40 out straight in front.
And Corby, the umpire from this side gave the decision, but it was the umpire on the other side that actually indicated that his jump was held. So that's a good positioning by that umpire if you're going to have 4 umpires.
Written up as the Calamity Kid in the Herald Sun this morning, where he's 1, 2 and 4 shots last week. Starts with the drop pump tonight and he misses out to the left. And that's where the criticism comes from round 18 onwards. That's last season into this year. His accuracy just 36%. Another miss for Harry Mackay. Cats by 6.
Zach Smith with the kicking duties for the Cats. Went for Radicale. A great one-handed catch as he claimed it with the right mitt. One-on-one with Jack Silvani. Chips it over the top for Jeremy Cameron. It's too wide, the wrong side of the boundary line. Matt Owies takes the free kick for the Blues. Comes inboard to half-back. Young, who played a good game alongside Wiedering last week, comes inboard to Chera. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Looks like Zach Tui has failed that HIA test. He's gone down to the rooms for a 15-minute concussion test now. So the Cats will be without not only Tom Stewart, who we know is out of this 22, but now Zach Tui. So they're down back.
Thanks, Hodgie Hollands to half forward for the Blues. Myers ran into a dead end, holding the footy. And Carlton will take it back. Owies and Charlie Curnow both laid the tackle with Matt Owies to take the free kick.
This is where they got to go quick. Shouldn't even be hesitating. Get it in there.
Owies looks in the Mackay direction, carries over his head. Cam Guthrie got it, Ed Curnow's got him.
The free kick to Conan gave away to Harry Mackay should give them more encouragement for that. Put them under pressure, force them to grab at the jumper.
20 out from the Carlton goal, swatted down. Owies soccers it forward, misses the behind post. Near side, trickles out of play, so a throw in deep forward for the Blues.
The Cats have got another one up in the back 50. Carlton are keeping their spare right back just to protect that quick break by Geelong.
Inside 50, 7-3, the way the Cats blitz outs over the bat. Falls to Kennedy, goes for goal. Good shepherding from Charlie Curnow, but Asaba Radicale got a hand to it. Denied the snap from Kennedy, another behind for the Blues. It's a 5-point lead Geelong's way through 10 minutes.
I just had a replay on the screen of the Zach Tui head hit on the ground. That was one of those nasty ones where it's a bit of whiplash into the ground.
Yeah.
There's the new Cat. Jack Bowes plays on from the goal square on the kick out, drives it up to Henry, entering from the side Akers, but there's a free kick.
Yeah, a good decision that. He was grabbed before he got there. That was a really silly free kick to give away. Didn't have to.
It's against Nick Newman.
Yeah, I don't know why he would do that.
Just grabbing Henry's jumper. Had a mixed night on debut for his new club last Friday. Ollie Henry kicks down to half forward. Rowan leaps for it. Spills out to Chera. He grabs the footy, got a hand pass through to Kennedy, darts through traffic, back to Newman, works it hurriedly to Pitternet, kicks down the wing, bouncing footy, slides through to Sam DeConey to the Cats, hand pass away to Atkins, hurried kick to centre half forward, Cameron the target, leaping for it, Young the double fister in the other direction, Chera's got it, tackled by Cam Guthrie, a little too rough, driving into the ground and a free kick to Chera at centre half back for Carlton.
He turns into the back pocket for Wiedering, sliding down low, takes the mark. So there was a lot of focus on the Blues trying to find the outlet out of the defensive 50. Wiedering goes for a laser pass to Harry Mackay, who takes the mark a long way up the ground. He's at half back and fends off Chad Buse, who was just trying to hold him down, and now Buse has the footy.
That's professional play by Buse there. Just slowed everything up enough. for his teammates to get set. Now Carlton are forced to go slow and wide to the boundary.
And Lewis Young takes the mark. He's a right half back with Geelong leading by 5 points. 2-1-13 to the Blues, 1-2-8. Forced to drive it long down the southern wing. Jack Silvani flies, spoiled down by Radicalea. Tanner Bruin read it best. Gets the hand pass away to Cameron, who pulls his kick. Inboard to Isaac Smith. Feeds the hand pass inboard. Hughes hadn't moved. He's inside 50. Kicks for Hawkins. Wietering takes the mark. And caught one around the head in the process. He takes the market in the right back pocket, and Nick Newman comes in to try and just push off Tom Hawkins. But Jacob Wietering still down. I think it copped it into the eye. And a trainer might have to come out.
Well, this will be an interesting replay because it didn't look much, but Wietering clearly hurt, as you said, probably the eye. Oh no, blood coming from the nose.
Yeah.
What does Hawkins do?
No, it's nothing in it. It's a slap at the ball and it goes down his arm into his nose. There's nothing untoward about that. It's a free kick best. He takes the mark anyway.
Wietering headed to the bench. The white towel up to the bloodied nose.
Just while we've got a second, I'm just watching.
There's Newman on the exiting kick, taking it for Wietering and covering across. Jeremy Cameron knocks it out of play, so a throw in half forward for the Cats.
Yeah, just watching Curnow with the conning, and I love the way he plays 10 yards in front and attacks the ball. He's not giving Curnow the chance to come and meet the ball. Really impressive. Well, he's not now, but he has been.
Cats by 5 points, 11 minutes in for the boundary throw-in. Cam Guthrie scrapping forward, hands and knees. Got a hand pass out. Isaac Smith sockers it forward. Ollie Henry up to meet it. Can't control it. Sard just sockers it into the middle of the ground. Here's Zach Guthrie. Chops it off on halfway for Geelong. Hand pass out to his premiership teammate Myers. Kicks inside 50. Henry the target. Can't take the juggled mark. Loose footy. Ed Curnow sends a hand pass out wide to Doherty. He's met in the tackle from Cam Guthrie again. It's been all over them early, and a ball up here. Left half forward, 60 out from the Geelong attacking goal. Pressed up against that southern boundary line. Cats by 5 points, 14 minutes in.
Pitting it into the ruck up against Reece Stanley. One down the tap. Stanley got the clearance though. Nowhere to go for Atkins, and he's tackled and creeps for the Blues. Hand pass to Doherty. Great work from Cowan. Found a gap where there wasn't one. Squeezed the kick up the southern wing. Flying was Charlie Curnow. Radicalea right there with him. And spoils it out of play for a boundary throw-in. Centre wing under the Shane Warne stand. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Jacob Wietering has been patched up. Just missing some skin on the top of the nose from that Tom Hawkins hand. He's been patched up and good to go back on the ground.
Just on Radicalea too. Got more votes than any other Cat last week from the coaches. 6 votes. His new role in defence for the boundary throw-in. Ed Curnow, hand pass to Hollands. Tumbles a kick down the boundary line and out in front of Hughes and Silvani. A couple of famous surnames and a boundary throw-in between wing and half forward for Carlton.
I know they didn't want to lose Jack Martin, but Pitnet's going to be a good in because it's only Reece Stanley, because they won't want Blitzarves to play the backup ruck role because he has to do the job on Cripps. So Stanley's in for a lot of work tonight.
Stanley wins it down to Hollands, then becomes tackler, forced the ball to come out. Dangerfield gives it to Cam Guthrie. Tackled by Ed Curnow, ball spits through to Kennedy. Hand pass to Hollands to the Blues. He turns it over by foot, trickles one away to Stanley. Hand pass back into congestion. Atkins extracts it. Hand pass to Smith. Now away to Dangerfield. Kicks down the wing. Jim McGovern dropped the mark he should have taken. Invites Jeremy Cameron in. Chucks it on his preferred left peg. Deep inside 50. Just too wide of Hawkins. He's a fellow key forward, just tracking the ball back over his shoulder. It ends up out on the full. Geelong by 5 points, 16 minutes into the opening term.
Oh, very disappointing, McGovern. He did this early last week. It took him a while before he got his confidence back, but you just cannot afford to make those mistakes.
Young to Newman, opens up play, it's at half back. Sard's kicked him, hit Ed Curnow. Sard had to re-win it for the Blues. Hand pass to McGovern, looks up towards half forward. Silvani's out, he takes the mark at right half forward. Stanley stands the mark, he chips it over the top. Charlie Curnow's got it. In the right forward pocket, he'll kick from just inside 50. Both Mackay and Curnow were on. He just had to make the right decision.
And again, Carlton, when they got the turnover, had forward streaming forward with plenty of in space.
Yeah.
They've only had the ball inside forward 54 times, Mick. But what's that? 3 shots at goal already, with the fourth coming.
To 11.
Hard out to the right for Charlie Curnow. Kicked the opening goal of the match. Looking to claw the Blues back. Good strike, just drifting across the face and missing to the left-hand side. It's a 4-point lead the Cats' way through 17 minutes, opening term on ABC Sport.
You always think he's got a chance, Kuno. He's such a strong long kick, and Mackay is too, but for some reason he's lost confidence in those 6.5 metres.
Bowes rather takes ground from the kick out, goes long to the wing, comes down to Chera though of the Blues. Hand pass out to Akers, pushed off his kick by Stengel. Ball spills out to Henry, hand pass back to Stengel, kicks down to Hawkins. Doherty dropping back in the hole, can't complete the mark. Hawkins tackled by Wiedering. Great bit of defensive work, forces the turnover. McGovern takes the advantage to centre half back for Kennedy. Smith right on him, got the 1-2 with Cripps. Kennedy through the middle. Isaac Smith never gave up on it. Pushes him off his kick. Stanley by hand to Smith, links up with Cameron. Deep to Hawkins, but back is Wiedering. Takes the intercept mark. Carlton can reload from the last line.
Just didn't read then. Jeremy Cameron had numbers galore around him. Carlton had the numbers back. They could have ran and shared that all the way.
Doherty went for Cripps, set him a challenge. Stengel almost slid in there. And Paddy Cripps, the Carlton captain, takes the mark. Out to Jack Silvani, who marks it right half back, southern side of the ground. Geelong leading by 4 points. Looks up to Botlock. He takes the mark just in front of the AFL logo. Inboard for Chera. They've got players on the break. He spots Cowan now member side. On the bounce. Gathers. Looks further afield. Puts it out towards Akers. He can mark right on 50. A good kick. What could have been had he marked in the dying seconds last week. He puts it to the teeth of goal. Up goes Charlie Curnow. Can't take the mark. O'Connor's pushed through by Durden. Through from minor scores. The last 4 scores have all been Blues behinds, and it's the Cats by 3 points. Tim Hodges.
Zach Tui is back from the Cats' rooms, Clinchy. The doctors have given him the thumbs up. He's furious he had to go down in the rooms in the first place, and now they just have to wait another 5 minutes until his concussion time has wound up and he can return to the field.
Cats by 3, Bowes on the kick out. McGovern goes for a climb at half forward, can't take the mark for the Blues. Spills through to Kennedy, they win it back, Carlton. Hand pass to Akers, he feeds it with Cripps. Now away to Cowan, takes on Dangerfield, spun around, still got it away to Cripps. 60 out at half forward. Hand pass to Akers, who's under the pump, and a free kick for a high tackle. And Carlton will keep possession, but the Cats just ramping up their pressure. Hand pass away towards McGovern, long kick inside 50, Radaglia hands to it, no mark. Spills down to blitz halves of the Cats. Hurried kick out to half back. Newman leads in the chase for the footy.
That's the deal with Jeremy Cameron. He might have been taken high. He takes the advantage. Newman, not a good kick inside 50. Touched off the boot. Stanley, quick hand pass to Blitzhouse. Gets it away. O'Connor with a kick up to the wing. Jeremy Cameron didn't complete the mark. Socket by Doherty. Gives up ground and has numbers behind the ball. Louis Young's hand pass. Set Doherty a challenge. Stengel pressured him. Hand pass from Hollands. Works it away. And now Motlop with a kick to half forward. Tom De Koning going back with a flight. Blitzhouse the other way. Good battle. De Koning led a tackle. Won the footy back. Now, I always thought it was a free kick the Blues way and gestured he wasn't going to take the advantage, and now he's going to be penalised. So the ultimate emotions, thought it was his ball. Now he's given away the free kick. And Zach Guthrie will take it on half back with the Cats leading by 3.
I reckon he rightly thought the Blitzarps didn't get a fist to that handball, and it would have been incorrect disposal.
So the game's gone up a gear as Zach Guthrie kicks to that outer wing and Pitternet takes the intercept mark for Carlton. Hand pass away to Doherty, sends it down to half forward. Kennedy marks, still 70 from home. Great smother. Bowes forces the ball back the other way. Kennedy goes and collects it. Hand pass to Hollands. Bowes again affects the kick. Smothers it. The ball ricochets away to the pocket. Tom De Koning trying to keep it alive. Stanley's got him in a heavy tackle. Ball comes out. Bowes bangs it out of the defensive 50 for Geelong. At the drop is Stengel. Goes racing away with the footy advantage applied. Free kick coming back for Dangerfield. And in fact, Dangerfield's going to take it.
No, I'm with you. Corbs, you are spot on. You called it right. You can't do that once you've played advantage clearly.
Tucks the footy under his arm, kicks towards Hawkins. Young stood in front of him, got it down to Wiedering. The hand pass to Sada, now to Nick Newman for the Blues at right half back. Around the boundary on the southern side to Doherty. He wants to come inboard. Spots up Young, who marks at the back edge of the centre square. Feigned the hand pass to Sada and then chips it to Kennedy, who was cannon into as he took the mark by Dangerfield. Didn't break the consistency with a hand pass to Doherty. Inside 50, Sam DeConing comes charging out against his brother Tom. There's one for the bragging rights. Takes the mark on his chest.
Yeah, playing in front. He's playing a very good game. Radler's doing the same thing. Playing in front at the right time, making it very awkward for Carlton to get a mark inside 50.
Oh, that's a shocking kick. Sam DeConing turns it straight over to Chera. Lays off a hand pass. The kick from Newman deep inside 50 for Carlton. Mackay hands to it. Motlop's out the back. Sam DeConing, the goal-saving tackle. Wrapped his arms around him and he says he got him high. Free kick to Motlop in the forward pocket.
Well, the umpire's going to look at that and realise he just reacted to what looked like a big tackle. It was a great tackle by Sam DeConing. It wasn't over the shoulder.
He's got those long arms and Sam DeConing just locked him up in the tackle. And from 40 metres away, the non-controlling umpires picked one. And he's gifted Motlop a kick here in the right forward pocket and he catches it in. Bends it through on the outside of the right boot. Jesse Motlop has his first of the season. And Carlton take the lead again. Time on in the opening term. Carlton by 3, 2-4 to 2-1. Grandstand AFL, a hot start of round 2, Thursday night footy. Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
And one stat, I think, in the Geelong coaches box, Mick, that Chris Scott would be a bit concerned about. 29 marks to Carlton, only 10 to Geelong. So when Carlton are winning the ball, they're controlling the footy and making Geelong defend. It's only the last kick inside forward 50 that's hurting them.
The other thing is too, Ling, about those marks. So many were. I'd love to see how many are actually in the centre square because they Carlton continually bring that ball back through the corridor. Geelong is so good at defending the outer ball where most clubs go. So they're leaving this wide open where they're getting those chances. It's gone now 10 to 12 inside the front 50. So we've seen Carlton really dominate the last 5 minutes.
Blues back in front, and here's Cripps, their captain, getting the clearance. Kicks towards half forward, over the head of Owies. Tough one for Bose to deal with. Stripped to the footy. Now becomes the tackler and locks it up at half forward. Zach Fisher, the meat and the sandwich with Isaac Smith, came charging in. A throw up 65 metres out from the Blues goal. Stanley wins down the tap against Tom DeConing. Count Guthrie volleys it forward, but it's out of bounds on the full. Fisher's going to take the free kick. Comes inboard. Chera jumps the mark. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Look at Zach Tui, guys. He's standing on the edge of the gate to enter the ground, just waiting for the seconds to tick by, and he can enter after his concussion wait. So, yeah, angry that he was in the protocols anyway, but he just wants to get back out there.
Chera long inside 50. Charlie Curnow flew. His brother Ed front and centre. There's nowhere to go as Cam Guthrie locks him up with Isaac Smith. A ball up 40 metres out from the Blues goal. They lead by 3.
111 to 66 possessions. That's Carlton's way. They're starting to dominate.
Up it goes. Stanley just knocks it to centre half back. Sard picks it off though for Carlton. Hand pass to Fisher. Sells some candy. Gets back on his left boot. Kicks to the behind line and Mackay crashes into the behind post trying to take the mark. And it ends up out of play. I think we're going to have a boundary throw-in.
Boundary throw-in called it. Corbs straight away hit the point post before it went through the points.
He sort of wrapped around the post, wasn't he? He was on the other side of it trying to take the mark, and as he touched the foot, he banged into the post. So a throw in deep forward for Carlton. Cripps doing the ruck work. Hands it out to Ed Curnow. Atkins has got handball, spills free. Here's Tanner Bruin. He too runs into the behind post and a throw in. You mentioned earlier, Lingy, about Tom DeConing and Pitternet playing together. They played just 5 games together last year. 3 wins, 2 losses. So about even, but didn't see them too much together in the back end of the year.
Toss back into play. Silvani doing the ruck against Stanley. Durden read it well. Couldn't squeeze a kick past the defenders, and Sam DeConing runs onto it. Off the outside of the boot. A clearing kick to half back. Hawkins against 2. Young set himself in front but dropped the chest mark. Knocked out by Tom DeConing. Trying to work it out to a teammate. Chera has nowhere to go as Jeremy Cameron lays the tackle. A ball up on the AFL logo on the southern side of the MCG. The Blues with the last 5 scores in the match, but only 1 goal for it. They lead by 3 points.
Carlton have got a spare forward of the play. Geelong slow to get it set up behind the play.
Carlton from the clearance. Ed Curnow tumbles an awkward ball down to half forward, and it beats Buse and Motlop out of play.
So Tom Atkins, I think it was, from the stoppage, had to run back hard there and just scramble. I don't think it's the matchup they exactly want. So Carlton just testing that Geelong defence at the moment really well. undermanned, younger defence.
Baggers by 3. Time on in the opening turn from the throw-in. Cripps got his boot to it. Trickles away to Isaac Smith. Hand pass back into dispute. Still there to be won. Cam Guthrie slides in, had it, lost it. Pack forms behind him. Here's Holmes, half-back for Geelong. Off his knees, gives it to Stengel. Kicks outside of the right boot. Rowan backpedaling, can't mark. Still a live footy on the southern wing. Sarge just sockers it out in front of himself for Carlton. Taps it out, but straight to Holmes of the Cats. Away to Cameron. His hand pass back to Sard of the Blues.
Tom de Koning for Carlton, hand pass to Young, trying to find an outlet. Kicks it out to Hollands on the southern side. Looks to go forward. Goes with a piercing kick down low. It's gathered by Durden. He turns Colwood. Kicks over the head of Harry Mackay. Can it go the distance? It's bouncing. It's bouncing. But Sam de Koning got a touch to it. Just a glancing touch as he threw his hands back. And threw for another behind for the Blues. They lead by 4 points. At the 28-minute mark of the opening term.
Gee, they should be leading by a lot more the way they're playing at the moment. Carlton plus 14 in contested possessions. So smashing the Cats around the footy, moving the ball to the outside well, but just can't finish their work.
Goes to Sam de Koning, marks back pocket, goes long out to half-back. Henry flies in the air and then wins it at the ground. Hand pass to Holmes of Geelong. Kicks down the wing, gets it to Stanley. Hand pass away to Rowan, to Bruin. Hand pass knocked down by Doherty. Wins it back for the Blues. The 1-2 with Sard. The Wolf is the lefty. Goes inside 50. Curnow flies, no mark. Radical air under the pump. Hand pass back into dispute. Motlop for the Blues. Hand pass to centre half forward. Owies to Chera, who shoots goalward but misses.
Had a hand pass there, option 2. Really.
More time than he thought. Another behind. 2-6 to 2-1. Blues by 5. Time on in the opening term.
I reckon Chris Scott's heart's in his mouth right now. Sam de Koning really slow to get up from that contest. He's been Geelong's best player down back.
Easy.
They need him if they're any chance.
Isaac Smith brings the Cats back into play. A beautiful kick that finds Ollie Henry, who marks on his chest at right half back. Hodgie on the boundary.
You're right on Sam de Koning. That right knee he injured last week, and he is very proppy. He just cannot move at the moment down back.
Kick looking for close. It was spoiled away from him. Ed Curnow to Doherty. Slap forward. Only as far as Buse. He's locked up by Doherty. Comes over the top with Durden, and Durden has the footy locked up between wing and half forward for the Blues. Approaching quarter time. Carlton by 5 points.
He certainly looks wonky on that knee. Here's his brother Tom de Koning for Carlton. Swats it down, but straight to Holmes of the Cats. Kicks to Hawkins in a 2-on-1. They all go to ground. The ball slips out the back, and that'll do us through 1. Quarter time. Away we go in round 2 of the AFL Premiership season, and it's Carlton 2-6-18 over Geelong 2-1-13. The Blues by 5 points. They've dominated a lot of the key statistical categories, but on the scoreboard they lead it by just 5 at the first break. Charlie Curnow kicked the first goal of the night. Jesse Motlop kicked the last, and in between, one for Gary Rowan and one for Jeremy Cameron. Still no result, by the way, in the Shane McAdam appeal, so we haven't yet squared off the affairs from round 1. The appeals panel have now been deliberating for half an hour, so still no result in the Shane McAdam appeal. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Oh, Michael Voss wouldn't be happy walking out to the quarter-time huddle, and his biggest asset, his captain, Patrick Cripps, just ran by him with the doctor straight down to the rooms. Not sure what's wrong with him, but the doctor was fast following him. So Patrick Cripps down to the Carlton rooms. Just on Sam de Koning, he's still out there. He hasn't gone to the room, so I think he'll be okay. Zach Tui's time is now up. He can return to the field to start this second term.
Thanks, Hodgie. It's quarter time. Carlton by 5 points. The thoughts of Mick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling in just a moment on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and now streaming through the ABC Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL.
What's the best thing in the world that's also on the ABC Listen app? The footy! This season, get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
Straight through for a goal.
AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered.
She's got it. Bye-bye. See you later.
Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports' expert commentary team.
Set. Bingo.
AFL and NRL, live and ad-free. Get it on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Motlop at half forward. He marks just inside 50. Charlie Curnow streaming back to goal. He sends it in that direction. He's out the back. He'll mark. And he'll go back and kick from inside the goal square for the first goal inside the opening 2 minutes. For the dream start for the Blues, Charlie Curnow comes in and gives Carlton fans something to scream about to start with.
Chera kicks into oncoming traffic. Myers knocks it down for Geelong. Feeds a hand pass into the path to Rowan. Unguarded goal square from 75 out. Needs a kind bounce. It skids through. A long-range bomb from downtown for Gary Rowan.
Stanley looks up to half forward. Jessica Cameron the target. Worked his way in front and takes the mark. From about 55, strikes at the left, bends back right beautifully. A long-range bomb.
Motlop's out the back. Sandra Coney with goal-saving tackle. Wrapped his arms around him and he says he got him high. And he's gifted Motlop a kick here in the right forward pocket and he catches it in.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
You can also get in touch with us through the SMS number, which is 0437 774 774. Marcus in Sumatra. Nice to have you with us. If only Michael Voss could teach his players to kick straight. They kicked the first of the night, Carlton. They've gone 1-6 from their last 7 scoring shots. 0437 774 774. The Blue Baggers by 5 points at quarter time. Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse.
A lot of pluses, Lingy.
Yeah. The text message we've just got then, Nick, is spot on. It's the kicking.
Yeah.
And it's only the final kick inside 50 and the kicking for goal that's got Carlton only 5 points up right now. They're dominant around the ball and controlling the footy.
Well, the difference between the possession level is Australia to Sumatra. I'll give you the tip. There's a difference of 49 possessions. I mean, when did Geelong ever lose a quarter by 49 and only lose by 5 points on the scoreboard? So early days, I thought Geelong just looked like they were going okay. Then once Carlton got on top, I'll tell you the other thing too, which is a really... I don't think Geelong have fallen for this for a long time, but they have in this last 15 minutes of that quarter. The extra player for Geelong getting in behind so that let the players at the ball do the work. If Geelong broke, Hawkins had 2 players on him. If it broke and it was Cameron, the player came up on the camera, he had 2 on him. So what they're doing, they're trying to double team their both outlets. Okay, Rowan's kicked a big long goal, but it's a very effective one so long as you can keep pressure at the scene, because if that gets done over, then you're going to have to put your players back and have your numbers even.
Again, though, Mick, it's the Geelong midfield which is getting outplayed. So last week, Collingwood dominant around the middle of the ground. Cam Guthrie really quiet. Parfitt really quiet. Paddy Dangerfield really quiet. Again, Guthrie is only the 3 touches. Tommy Atkins, who had a terrific season in the midfield last year, only the 2 touches. Tanner Bruin is in there, has only had the 2 handballs. Dangerfield's found the ball 7 times, but he's only going at 30% efficiency. So the Carlton midfield is in control, so the responsibility falls back onto the Cats to get the job done around the middle of the ground. Carlton must be feeling good that if they can keep that control through the middle and fix up that final kick inside forward 50 and they're kicking for goal, they'd be feeling like we've got them right now if we keep this up.
Well, in Geelong's case there, they've got the Conning and Radaglia, who have been mountains, absolute mountains. They've been able to play in front at the right time. As you said, if they can clean that kick up and find those players as opposed to looking at the Geelong players and getting caught out, then Carlton will start to have multiple shots on goal. But we've also got to remember, it might be plus 51 or 49 possessions, but the inside 50s is still 13-13. And it doesn't matter how many positions you have in and around the ground, you still got to dominate inside 50s with good numbers that you can. And I don't know what the marking is inside 50, but Geelong haven't taken many, but I'm thinking that Carlton haven't taken a lot either. So Geelong are doing the job without the football. And this is where Carlton now have got to make Geelong pay.
Thoughts of Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch calling the footy. Tim Hodges on the boundary. The Blue Baggers by 5 points and 5 behind's the margin. 2-6 to 2-1. Second quarter underway. We're going to have another ball up after DeConey won it down and Blitzarms is locked up. Carlton home game tonight, decked out in the navy blue with the white monogram, and Geelong with the white shorts and the hoops. Dangerfield extracts it, gives it to the ruckman Stanley, kicks inside 50. Spoil comes from McGovern, chase on for the footy. Jeremy Cameron sockers to his own advantage. Hand pass away to Holmes, gives it by hand to Hawkins in the pocket, kicks back in, ball juggled, Mark Blitzarves. Works his way to the front, hangs on to it, 15 out, dead in front.
And as he took that mark, Paddy Cripps was probably 10 to 15 metres off him. Direct opponent. I can't overstate how important that is. If you're going to play a run with roll, you've got to be threatening when the ball goes forward. If you can kick a goal on your opponent, next time, Cripps has to do the work to come with you, use up some of his petrol in defence.
For all Carlton's hard work, their lead is now gone. Just 1 minute into the second term, Geelong back in front. The reigning premiers move to 3-1. Carlton at 2-6. Blitzarves with his first goal of the night. Comes 70 seconds into the second quarter. Grandstand AFL. The Cats by a point.
I'm sure, Mick, when you're in the coach's box, and it probably was me at times playing on some of your really good midfielders, if I just go down and get the footy deep in defence and rack up a few little handballs and do nothing, you're not stressed about your midfielder not manning me up. But if a tagger can get forward and kick a goal, I've no doubt the coach is on the phone saying, hey, you've still got to play your role in defence. You can't just let him go.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny enough, I saw his sister play last night. I went and watched the Flyers play Townsville. Unfortunately, Townsville won. But anyway, Blizzards, he's a wonderful player.
Yeah, what a
plays everywhere.
Talented family they are. 10 years ago, he was plucked from athletics, and here he is on the MCG, a premiership player. Free kick going the way of the Cats in the middle of the ground, and Dangerfield takes it, feeds it to the runner Bowes from half back. Long kick inside 50. Cameron up, almost took the mark. McGovern's there, Sard as well, running onto it. Holmes tapped it to the advantage of Hawkins. His hand pass is too wide for Stengel, and it goes out of play in the right forward pocket for the Cats. Punt road end, Geelong leading by a point.
And 10 possessions to none.
Bowes has started positively. His first game with the Cats, up to 8 touches.
Carlton the lion's share of possession of that opening quarter. 8 scoring shots to 3, led it by only 5 points. They now trail by 1 from the boundary throw-in. Jeremy Cameron sits on the Carlton player underneath all of that. It's Lewis Young and a ball up. Forward pocket for the Cats, kicking the punt road end in this second quarter. Hawkins doing the ruck work, palms it down, but straight to Kennedy of the Blues, kicks out of the defensive arc. Bowes up strong, marks in front of Durden.
Yeah, good mark, strong mark.
This is Jack Bowes, a kid from Cairns who was picked 10 in the national draft all those years ago, drafted by the Suns. Hand pass away to Cameron, scooting around the back, kick inside the forward 50, comes through to close, next to the boundary line. He runs out of room and will have a boundary throw-in. 30 metres out from the Geelong goal. So 12-1 the disposal count at the moment to start this second quarter. 3.5 minutes old, Geelong by a point.
The Blues had more than 40 uncontested possessions in that first quarter. Hawkins doing the ruck work to Koning. Tom to Koning. Away to that, lays the tackle. Atkins with the hand pass to Isaac Smith. Snaps across his body, racing back McGovern. It bounces off his chest and goes through for a minor score. If you're a goalkeeper, that would work, but sure the Carlton fans weren't all that convinced with his application. Geelong by 2.
Dangerous kick out too. Spotted Blake Acres. He's good enough to mark it. The late pressure from Izzy Smith. Spilt one of his own, of course, in the waning moments last week, Blake Acres. First year at his third club. Former Saint, former Docker. Down the wing, Charlie Kerner on the pack, but Radaglia clunks it.
What about the athleticism between those two? Radaglia and Kerner.
That's a matchup.
But that's a great plus for him, though, to go against Kerner and mark like that.
Radaglia looks for Hawkins, one out in the cage. Wiedering with him, Wiedering spoils. Isaac Smith trying to keep it in front of himself. Sockers it away to Stengel against the boundary line. Hand pass back to Cameron. Great deft kick back inboard to Myers, who climbs over Ed Curnow and takes the mark. Centre half forward for Geelong.
Well, Carlton got to start to get a captain or a leader somewhere to start to say, let's get the football and even sit on it for a full 8 seconds. But don't let Geelong keep dominating the ball, which they are.
Carlton have got to be organised here on the line. There's no guarantee Myers makes the distance from here with his kicking style.
So Myers crosses the 50 from 48 out, tugs it out to the left.
That's what he does when he tries to get that extra bit of distance.
Yep. Familiar kicking arc out to the right and behind. Geelong by 3 points, 5 minutes into the second quarter. Carlton have barely touched it.
Side into McGovern, kicks up to Charlie Curnow. Radicalea spoils it down. Blitzhouse can't break the Cripps tackle, holding the footy as he tried his best to break clear. He wasn't breaking the vice like Cripps as the Carlton captain. Hand pass to Cowan, kicks up towards Silvani, a 2-on-1. Sam DeConey got a hand onto it, racing back Zach Guthrie, breaks past Durden, gets the hand pass away to O'Connor, needs to get it back to Zach Guthrie. They ran the gauntlet well. Hand pass to Myers through the middle of the ground. O'Connor links up with Close, wants the outlet hand pass. He turns and now kicks towards half forward. Holmes the target, up against Hollands. Hollands almost did enough to spoil it down. Holmes lost his footing. Now Hollands got him. Umpire says pushing the back. And it'll be a Geelong shot on goal.
Well, the way he ended up, it was in the back, but if the free kick was paid prior to that, it's too long of a football. But I reckon umpires are now getting over the fact that players can actually think they can sit in someone's back. And there's nothing wrong with that decision if you blow the whistle when you blew the whistle.
Yep. Ollie Hollands ended up in a foot race with probably one of the few players on the ground you don't want to be alongside, Max Holmes. And just made him earn every inch. Holmes, the hard luck story of last year's grand final, from outside 50, sets fly, it's right to the goal line. Tom DeConing's there and off hands. It ricochets off the left goal post and through for a minor score. It's all the Cats, 4-point lead Geelong's way.
Sorry, Matty. Why is there such a change? I mean, we've watched dominant for Carlton. All of a sudden, Geelong's midfielder just got on top.
Yep, +6 contested possessions.
Doherty out of the defensive 50, shocking kick, made it tough for Kennedy, and then Kennedy wins it back with a huge chase down tackle on Bowes. Carlton maintained possession, long kick out to the wing for Curnow. That's Charlie, marks in front of Radicalea, hand pass out to Akers, spears his kick to Silvani in the pocket. So Carlton, after a horrid kick out of the defensive 50 from Doherty, they've somehow, with the work of a free kick, been able to maintain possession from one defensive line all the way down the other end, and Silvani will shoot from 30 out right forward pocket.
They identified the overlap well on this side of the ground. They had Akers running hard to the outside, and that just opened everything up, and a nice grab by Silvani. But yeah, the big change has been the contested possessions. This will be a nice settler for the Blues if you can kick it. Just get them back to the middle of the ground and get reset.
And his family's famous jumper, the Carlton number 1, Jack Silvani, right-footed drop punt, misses near side. So Geelong's lead cut to 3. 3-4 to 2-7, 8 minutes into the second quarter, but momentum with the Cats.
Their first inside 50 of the quarter, and good to see Jack Silvani lead up at the footy as well. As Tui plays on for the Cats, kicks out to Isaac Smith, backpedaling. He marks in front of Jack Silvani, feeds the hand pass back to Tui. It was off for a concussion test in the first quarter, kicks up towards Jeremy Cameron. Great bodywork to get rid of Lewis Young. Take the mark with Young, trying to work with his back to the ball. Cameron has it out to the left. Still two good kicks out from goal.
A lot of numbers back for the Blues.
Takes a kick to Cam Guthrie. That is deemed to be 15.
Even though it was 7.
He's still 60 out from home. And then short to Myers, but he is no closer.
That's the 5th mark in a row.
Brian Myers kicks towards the lead of Ollie Henry's, who marks on his chest. It was well executed in the end, and Henry led into the space and a beautiful pass.
See, that's a good kick. There was no space to work with there. Carlton had everything set. That's why Geelong were forced to do those small chipping kicks and control the footy. But that was an elite pass by Brian Myers.
First 3 kicks, I think he got from full back to a half forward line. That's depth of kicking and finding right targets.
Couple of goals in his new colours last week. Ollie Henry comes in and steers it straight through the middle. Happy to let his footy do the talking, as well as letting his opponents know around him. And the Cats steady to lead by 9 points. 4-4-28 to the Blues, 2-7-19. The Cats with 2 goals to none in this second quarter, which is now 9 minutes old.
Well, I reckon this is going to be the mental test of Carlton, because early on you said you felt, Lingy, that they looked like Carlton, looked like they were in the contest and controlling the contest. Now Geelong have taken that right off them, totally and utterly right on. 33 possessions to 12. Now is called upon leadership and guts, determination, all the things that we say is an under-14 player, has he got it? And this is what Carlton now are being extended to.
Yep, contested possessions +13 for the Blues in the first quarter, -6 to start this quarter. Yep. That's where it is, and you're right, the leaders have got to get the job done.
All of a sudden, 9 points the margin. Big moment here for Carlton. Pitternet wins it down. Deft touch on it from Cam Guthrie. Knocks it away to Atkins. Kicks out to half forward. There's Henry again. Had the seat taken out from under him. Blues win it. Newman hand pass to Ed Curnow. Away to Fisher. Back to Newman. Back to Ed Curnow. Kicks down the wing. Hughes flying across the front. Knocks it down. Loose footy on the wing. Cowan puts his head over it for Carlton and extracts it. Got it to Chera. Sweeping hand pass to Fisher. Carlton right on halfway. Short kick down the members' wing. Kennedy needs it to sit for him. Brushes aside Atkins. Hand pass to Silvani. Kicks inboard. Trying to get it to Chera. Myers spoils. Chera sockers it. 15 out from the Blues attacking goal. And Motlop collects. Hand pass away to Sard. Sard across the body. Hurried kick. He misses the whole set. And a good bit of pressure coming late from Max Hones. No score out on the full 9-point lead for Geelong. 11 played second term.
It didn't end up with a goal, and we were calling for the leaders to do it. It was Lockie Cowan down here in front of us. He made that ball his own amongst 3 Geelong opponents. Real hunger, great play.
Radical air out of defence up towards Blitzhouse. Pitnet sport it down. Tanner Bruin with a hand pass to Sam DeConey. It opens up for Isaac Smith. Beautiful kick into the corridor. Close had to stand his ground. Couldn't pull in the mark. Bumped off to it by Newman. Underground hand pass from Doherty. Works it to Akers. Wider still in the southern wing now for Sard. Unleashes Chera. He gives it back to Akers. Between wing and half forward. Thought about the hand pass back now. Kicks inside 50. Looking for Charlie Curnow from behind. Radical air in front. Oh, he's front and centre. Screws it back towards Silvani. Jezza Cameron's got back. And he rushes it through for a minor score. Cats lead by 8 points. 12 minutes gone. Second quarter on ABC Sport.
A little bit of momentum going Carlton's way now because Geelong have their structure, their forward line isn't quite reset. Blues are bringing some good pressure. Winning a couple of 50-50 balls.
Zach Guthrie, one of 17 premiership players out there for Geelong. Kicks out to half-back. Slides through a few hands. Ends up with Akers of the Blues. Kick smothered. Ricochets to Blitzhalves. Still at half-back for Geelong. Hand pass to Jeremy Cameron. Short kick to Myers. Marks defensive side of the wing. Just chips a little ball forward himself to Bruin. The former Giant. Tanner Bruin. Short kick up into the front half. Stengel marks against the boundary line southern side. Told to go, closed down by Young. High kick to Hawkins. Hawkins wins the one-on-one battle with Wiedering and takes the mark. 35 out, right half forward. He's 10 in from the boundary line.
As much as I try and argue with some of my key forward friends, Mick, there's a reason why the big fellas earn some big dollars. That was just a bailout kick under pressure. And Tom Hawkins made that footy his own against an All-Australian fullback. That was brilliant forward play. Strong grab.
Yeah. 34 years of age. He had foot surgery in the off-season. Had a corked calf this week, which is heavily taped. And yet this is his 73rd consecutive game. Tom Hawkins, the long-time Geelong spearhead. He shakes that one. Misses out to the left.
And that's why I tell them they don't deserve the big games.
Geelong by 9 points, 13 played second quarter on Grandstand AFL.
That contest between those two was worth looking at itself, Wiedering and Hawkins. How, in the end, Hawkins was able to get him under the ball.
Nick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling with you. Doherty brought it in to Wiedering and then Tyson Stengel didn't stand when was asked to do so. So a 50-metre penalty for Wiedering takes him into the middle of the ground and solves some of Carlton's issues getting out of defence. Not a great kick. Intercepting mark taken by Myers at the Cats. Looks up towards half-back. Works it to Tanner Bruin. Wider still. Gathered by Jeremy Cameron with a long raking kick. He goes for close. A couple of Blues fly in. Young couldn't take the mark. Got it down to Cowan though. Hand pass to Doherty. Kicks end over end towards the boundary line. Newman gathers just inside. Chips it over the top. And the mark's taken by Blake Akers.
Akers looks back inboard and Pitternet will mark outer edge of the centre square.
They've got to go quicker than that when they get a good turnover. They had options everywhere.
Kicks to Charlie Curnow in a 2-on-1. Can't take the mark. Ball hits the ground and ends up out of play. So a throw in between wing and half forward for the Blues. They played on the least out of any team in the competition last week, Carlton.
And you've got to look at it and go, we've got a good forward line, a very good forward line, and we've got a Geelong defence who is young or inexperienced down back. It has to go there as often and as fast as possible.
I think you just keep an eye on Jeremy Cameron. He's up to 7 disposals for this second quarter. I think he's playing the midfield. Cherry gets the clearance, kicks towards Charlie Curnow, just couldn't pull it in with his fingertips. It's knocked out by the Geelong defence. Radicalia tries to link up with Tui. Hand pass comes to Isaac Smith. Good composure under pressure. Found Bowes. He kicks towards Dangerfield. He and Akers compete in the air, and Akers sees it out of play for a boundary throw-in.
Jeremy Cameron is playing almost what I remember of the James Hird type role.
Yep.
Wherever he thinks he's got an advantage against his opponent, he'll take them there. Roam far and wide, midfield, wander down back, and then do your work up forward.
Geelong by 9 midway through the second quarter, despite having one fewer scoring shots against the wayward Blues from the boundary throw-in. Akers hurried kick inside 50. There's a free kick here for a hold, and it's going Geelong's way. I think Harry Mackay started walking back thinking he was getting the free, but it's
off the ball. It was Tom de Koning on, is it Mark O'Connor?
Yep. Just bowled him over as the pack was starting to set. And so the Irishman to take the free, top of the defensive goal square. A wrap around the back to Isaac Smith. The long raking 50-metre drop pump to half-back. Sarden Stengel fly in the air. Spills down to Akers of the Blues. Hand pass to Ed Curnow. Kicks to Charlie. Curnow marks right on the paint for the 50. Turns and just drills it goalward. Charlie Curnow goes straight to his brother and says thanks for a bit of that. The low trajectory bullet goalward draws Carlton within 3 points. Geelong 4-5-29, Carlton a 3-8-26. And Charlie Curnow, who kicked the first of the night now, has a couple, 16 played second quarter.
What a remarkable athlete. Great kick of the footy. Mick, I don't know how you coached. When you've got a left footer, Isaac Smith, who ran all the way around the back of O'Connor to get a handball on his right foot,
I know,
and then kicked it straight back to the opposition because he was on his right foot, and it comes back in. That would send you crazy, wouldn't it?
Well, it has. I mean, yes, that is spot on, Lingy. And I've seen it so often, but I just wonder whether this is just a numerical game where you're judged on the number of possessions, because that's the first thing I'd say to the player. Sit him down and say, get rid of your mathematics.
Cats lead cut to 3 points. Mark Pitnet gave away the free kick, blocking as the ball was bounced in the middle of the ground, and Stanley will take the free kick. Hand pass to Tui. Drives a long ball inside 50. Dangerfield trying to get a run at it. Rowan flew late. Brought it down to the ground level where Cam Guthrie tries to knock it out to Rowan. He's tackled by Ed Curnow, and he locks the ball up 40 metres out from the Cats' goal. Played together, Ed Curnow and Charlie Curnow, all that much with the injuries across the various years. And out a highlight for the Curnow family. Stengel on the move, couldn't get a disposal away. Matt Kennedy for the Blues. Hand pass away to Fisher. High kick around the members' wing. Silvani was held. No, it's a free kick off the ball, and it's going to be a downfield free kick.
See, that's got to be 50.
Yeah.
Tom Atkins ran straight through the mark. Jed Buse was set on the mark. Silvani had the ball, ran straight through. Should be 50.
Silvani gets his kick through to Motlop, can't complete the mark, stands up with a footy, spun around, hand pass to Durden. She ran straight into traffic. Cluttered into Dangerfield. Quick kick squeezed out by the Blues. It went wide, and Buse, who's there for Geelong, takes the mark off the Fisher kick. Hand pass forward to O'Connor. Kicks Geelong inside the forward arc, and Wiedering just moves aside Ollie Henry to take the intercept mark. Half back for Carlton. It's Geelong by 3 points, 19 gone, second term.
Wiedering goes backwards to Newman, who marks 25 metres out from his defensive goal. Now to Cowan. He suffered cramps in both legs before three-quarter time. Had to be subbed out last week. To Doherty into the middle of the ground for Kennedy. The chip mark game working for the Blues. As he works it to Chera. Veers out to the right, inside the centre square. Drives it long. Harry Mackay sets himself. Stanley in front. Spills into the back. Jack Silvani's in the back. Hand pass to Owies into the open goal. Carlton back in front. After a dominant Geelong second quarter, the Blues take back the lead, having not led since the 23-minute mark of the opening term. Carlton 4-8-32 to the Cats 4-5-29. 20 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
But since we said how well Geelong was going,
dominant,
it has been +5 contested possessions Carlton's way, and that has led to them get a lot of outside ball. They're starting to control the footy, starting to use it better, and they're back on top.
And inside 50s have gone from 1-7, I think it was 1 something, to now 9-8 Carlton's way. So You don't have to be a road scholar to work out if you're getting some good football and some running football, and you get it inside your front 50 and you have a good contest there, the likelihood is you're going to score.
Fourth lead change of the night. Carlton by 3 points. Pitternet back in the middle. Swats it down. There's Kennedy of the Blues. Hand pass to Ed Curnow. Hurried kick under pressure. Tumbles out the southern wing. Bruin, first one there for Geelong. Hand pass back to Tui against his old side. He spun around by Newman. Got back up with a footy up. Allowed him to continue. Kicks down the wing to Close. Hand pass to Blitzarps. Zagging one way then the other. Hurried high kick to centre half forward. Jeremy Cameron at the drop and McGovern just knocks it away from him. Fisher collects centre half back for Carlton.
Hand pass to Newman through the corridor. Hollands, it opens up in front. Hand pass to Motlop. He's got players on at half forward. More direct to Mackay. Flying Sam de Koning. Clears to the back. Zach Tui gets back first. Motlop after him. Good tackle. Hand pass to Radicalea. Under immense pressure. Got it to Stanley. It's a Geelong player down. Drives out of defence. Up towards Ola Henry. 2-on-1. Almost claimed the mark. Hand pass back to Jezza Cameron. It's bounced off him. Picked up by Newman. Hand pass away to Fisher. Looks up towards Silvani. He takes the mark at right half forward. It's Sam de Koning who's slow to get to his feet.
He's had those knee dramas after being swallowed up by the turf monster last week here at the MCG. And with the trainers at centre half back, kick goes inside 50. His direct opponent Mackay climbs for the footy. Geelong work it out though despite being a man down. Atkins hand pass to Holmes, kicks down the wing. Ollie Henry climbs, no mark. Sark charging through, Sockers to his own advantage, wins it for Carlton. Kicks inside 50, Mackay runs at the ball, no mark. Zach Guthrie knocks it down, Rowan there for Geelong. The 1-2 with Atkins, Rowan off the half-back flank, runs a long way, kicks out of the defensive arc and Henry marks on the wing for the Cats.
Doesn't have a lot further afield, and Wiedering was waiting as the looser defence, so 50 certainly helps the cause.
He should be running fast here. No, he's probably thinking he's got the set shot in him from where the mark will be.
There's a against Chera.
Just trying to work out why that was. Did he move in the mark or something? Did he hiccup or?
There's that much going on, Mick. I'm not exactly sure. Jeremy Cameron.
Let's go to Hodgie on the interchange. Hodgie.
Well, Jeremy Cameron first. He has got smashed in the right eye. That is bleeding dreadfully. That's going to take a long time to clean that up. And Sam de Koning is groggy. So I didn't see that contact, guys. Both doctors are watching the vision, so no one's with Jeremy Cameron right now. The physio's helping him. So, yeah, they've got problems, Geelong, everywhere.
Thanks, Hodgie. Ollie Henry having kicked one already in this quarter. Directly in front, just inside 50. Set sail. Misses to the left-hand side. Carlton's lead is cut to 2 points at the 23-minute mark of the second quarter. 4:8:32 to the Cats, 4:6:30.
He's Doherty on the kick-out duties. Takes a bit of ground and then goes long up to the wing. His Lingy watches on the replay. Through congestion, Bowes extracts it. Hand pass to Cam Guthrie. Turns it over. Centre half back, Saab takes the mark. Slingshot back the other way. Hand pass to Doherty. Kicks through the middle of the G. Motlop mowed down. Great tackle, Jed Hughes. Somehow got a hand pass out to Ed Curnow. Says continue. Kicks out wide to brother Charlie. One-on-one with Radicalea. And Radicalea sprawled out over the turf. Sees it out of bounds. Right on the junction of the 50 and the boundary line. Half forward for Carlton.
So it was a Jesse Motlop shoulder that made contact with Sam de Koning. Just as he was running along at full pace, de Koning sort of half falling to ground, made contact with the head. So I think Hodgie's all over it. It'll be a concussion test and go through all those protocols for de Koning.
Tom de Koning down to Kennedy, lost it. Holmes' hand pass for Geelong, picked off by Sard. Blues inside 50. Charlie Curnow comes charging out and takes the mark at its highest point. And even for as well as the Saba Radicalea has played, there's no stopping that mark.
Yeah, what a great duel. That is a duel to come to see. Both have had their moments.
Charlie Curnow with a chance to kick his third.
Curnow doing the right thing though, wasn't it? Forward, in front, first to move, a quick kick out of congestion, and just launched at it.
Slightly left of centre, Curnow comes in and extends the Blues lead with his third. After a rampaging start to the second quarter the way of the Cats, the Blues have steadied with the last 3 goals of the match. They're 5:8:38 to the Cats, 4:6:30. 25 minutes gone, second quarter, down to Tim Hodges.
Sam De Koning has just gone to the rooms for the Cats. I will be staggered if he returns to the field. He'll be entering the concussion protocols for the next 15 minutes, but just the way he came off, he was so groggy, the legs were jelly. They've just tried to patch and strap Jeremy Cameron up, but they just can't stop the bleeding on the edge of his right eye. They've just ripped the strapping back off, and they're just trying to stop the bleeding before they patch him back up. So he can't come back on the ground for at least a couple more minutes until they get this under control.
Match-up nightmares now for the Cats, with De Koning going down. Blitzarves has kept Cripps to one touch this quarter, so they can't send him back or don't want to.
Blues with the last 3 goals in the game. Dangerfield getting his hands dirty, scrapping for it right in the middle of the G. Ball comes out the back door of the pack, and Cripps now wrestles with Cam Guthrie. Still the up lets them go. Cripps eventually got it out to Chera. Dangerfield sweating on him, lays a tackle immediately. Like a rolling maul at the moment. You can throw a blanket over 30 players. Trickling a kick out. Kennedy still in the middle of the ground. Akers got it out a second time to Kennedy, the Blues. Kick smothered. Ricochets to Hollands. Now at half forward for Carlton. Hand pass to Akers. Kicks to Mackay, and a wrestle with Radicalea. Radicalea took the body, and Mackay will get the free.
Well, that's why they've got to go in there fast now. That was just a grab at the body.
Absolutely.
Radicalea wants to play on Curnow, and he wants De Koning to be on Mackay. He's now had to go across to Mackay. Looks like O'Connor's gone to Curnow. So Carlton midfield for the last 2 minutes and 20 seconds should just be thinking, pump it in
Get
there.
it in.
Harry Mackay's only 40 out on a 45-degree angle. He's going to try and kick across the body. He's a left footer. So he's trying to open up the angle. He missed a drop punt earlier with De Koning off the ground. He's on the board. Mackay bends it through, and the Blue Daggers are on a roll. It's 4 straight in the game, and Carlton lead by a game high 14 points. 6:8:44, Geelong 4:6:30. Time on in the second term. Sam De Koning kept him goalless the last time the two teams met. He hasn't got one so far tonight. He's on the board the minute that Sam De Koning goes off.
Well, not only have they got Curnow and Mackay to deal with, Silvani can take a good mark. So they've now stretched the life out of Geelong, but you can put a stop to that if Geelong can then reverse the midfield. That has swung right around, Lingy. It's gone from Geelong dominating into a real thrust by Carlton. They've started to take control of the ball, particularly blokes like Kennedy and so forth.
Mick Malthouse with you on ABC Sport. Jeremy Cameron back into the game, as Tim Hodges just mentioned to us. Back in the middle of the ground, Tom De Koning and Stanley. A chance still for the Cats. There's danger, and Isaac Smith trying to knock it forward. Tui punches it inside the 50. Stengel trying to knock it to his own advantage. Sliding in, well picked up and gathered by Akers. Hand pass to Doherty. Just missed Chera with the hand pass. Has enough time to regather. Tom De Koning from the back edge of the centre square. Into the middle of the ground. They have the numbers. The Blues. Durden trying to knock it on. Now the tackle on Radicalea. And the footy stuck under the Sava Radicalea at centre half back. An important one-on-one win.
Yeah, sometimes the best win you can have, Clinchy, is just to stop the ball and not let it spill out, because Carlton had free players everywhere.
Blues by a game high 14 points, ticking towards half time from the restart. Atkins to Holmes, away to Bowes, and now Dangerfield all by hand. He shares it out wide with Jeremy Cameron with his box wrapped. Kicks down to half forward. Stengel marks 70 from home, hits up Hawkins, who marks right on the junction of the boundary in the 50.
Blitzarves has got a match-up that he loves against Hollands. They're not going to get it there quick enough. Hawkins looks like he's going back for a set shot.
Still the deadly forward line, Geelong. Again, just 50-50 ball. Share the ball inside your front 50.
He's not happy at all at this. The Carlton fans, Hawkins has taken a long time, and only now he's decided to put the ball on the ground, put his mouth guard in his sock, and go back for his usual routine, soaking up some seconds, and last minute chips it to his partner in crime, Jeremy Cameron. Marking against the fence, about 35 out, right half forward.
Suits his left leg coming across. He's been an expert at this right through his career, left foot across his body. Took
a heap of time. The Carlton fans are filthy. Jeremy Cameron snapping with the left peg. That's a superb finish. He turns to the Carlton fans and lets them know all about it. Breaks the run of 4 consecutive Carlton goals. Jeremy Cameron with his second of the night. Bends it through from out wide. The Blues lead cut to 8. 6:8:44, Geelong to 5:6:36, half-hour mark, second quarter.
Don't underestimate Hawkins. I know you don't, Lingy, but just from the public's point of view, he probably realised, even though he swings the ball back from left to right, he knew that he was probably underdone through the pre-season and needed another target. So he takes a little bit extra time. Carlton defence relax marginally. His partner in crime finds the space. He knows he can do anything around the corner from the left side, and then finds him with a 30-metre pass or a 25-metre pass. Outstanding.
Big goal for the Cats just ahead of half-time. The bounce is going to be recalled. He knew it was a big kick. He turned in celebration and realised there was nothing but Carlton fans in front of him. So he had to generate his own enthusiasm. Tossed up in the middle of the ground. Tom De Koning wins down the tap. Straight to Atkins, who sockers it off the ground towards half-forward. Sard used his foot cleverly. He gathers and kicks it high into the air as the siren sounds for half-time. The quarter in which the Blues had to withstand the Geelong attack to start that second quarter. They finished kicking 4 goals to Geelong's 3-5, and having led by 5 points at quarter time, Carlton lead by 8 at the main break. 6:8:44 to the Cats, 5:6:36. It's the Blues leading by 8 points. For Carlton, 3 goals to Charlie Curnow, individuals to Mackay and to Motlop. Meanwhile, for the Cats, their goals have come through 2 to Jeremy Cameron, individuals to Rowan, Ollie Henry and Mark Blitzavs.
Jeremy Cameron's face falling apart. He's sort of bleeding through the strapping, that cut on his left eye. As Hodgie told us about, Sam De Koning's getting a concussion test. Zach Tui passed one earlier in the night. Jack Martin's not even playing. He was a late withdrawal with a calf complaint, and Mark Pitternet is into the team. Lockie O'Brien, the sub for Carlton, and Cooper White on debut for Geelong. Neither of them used so far. The deliberation time in the Shane McAdam case has now passed the hour mark. Still waiting for a decision for his appeal on a 3-game ban. We're already 2 quarters of footy into the next round. Crew, fantastic banter. Carlton are hungrier. That's from Scott in Tasmania. Also raises the question of whether every player should be forced to wear headgear, similar to the NFL. I'm not sure that the science is quite conclusive, Lingy, as to whether headgear actually prevents concussion.
Especially not the helmets that AFL players would wear. I hesitate to wade into that area.
Kevin in Myrtlefoot off the SMS, enjoying the call, team. Nice to hear from you, Kevin. From Simon in Largs Bay, Gary Rowan is the most spectacular 5-possession player of all time. And from Bill, the Cats keep turning it over through poor disposal. They're beating themselves. And there it is, a little sample off the SMS. 0437 774 774 is the SMS number. Carlton by 8 points at half-time. They led by a game-high 14 just moments ago before that last Jeremy Cameron major. Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse to half-time.
Well, it's remarkable in the first quarter. Carlton had 49 more possessions. They only had 1+1 that quarter, but they outscored Geelong by a couple of goals. They just looked... Once they got through that first 7 or 8 minutes where Geelong dominated, Carlton then took control. And they took control through the middle. But it also helps, and when you're at a game and when you're barrack for a club, you know who's missing. When you're just you want to watch football, sometimes you don't have to worry about who's injured, who's not. But once De Koning went out of play, the whole... And that was against the grain, that Cameron goal at the end. Geelong lost any semblance of a back line that could be functional enough to beat one of the best forward lines in the competition. As it turned out, Mackay was able to kick a goal. Curnow's kicked 2. Now, I know that one was when De Koning was on, but when you analyse now who's off the ground, and this can't be helped. Smith was Stewart's out from last week, so you can't worry about that one. But when you unbalance the side on match day, then what you've got to do with Carlton is square off with the clearances, and you're going to have a distinct advantage on your forward line because Geelong are under massive pump.
And Carlton have got a sense that, and I'm sure Michael Voss would be talking about that right now. Guys,
smelling blood.
Yeah, look at that. Look at our forward line. Look what Charlie's doing. Look what Harry's doing. Look what our Smalls are doing. What Jack Silvani's looking threatening. Their defence is vulnerable right now. Let's get it in there, and let's get it in there quicker. Because when they did, you said, Mick, that Carlton dominated the possessions for the first quarter. We're only +1 in the second quarter.
Yep.
But if you split that second quarter up into halves, Geelong were dominant for half of the second quarter. Carlton smashed them for the second half of the second quarter.
Absolutely. And
it came through the middle of the ground. And amazingly, the skipper, Paddy Cripps, only the 2 handballs in that second term. So they did a reasonable job containing him, but the others got involved and they started generating plenty of footy and gave their forward line a good look. Chris Scott, on the other hand, Nick, you touched on this, headaches galore. The matchups at the moment, Radagalia's gone to Mackay, O'Connor's gone to Curnow, and Gary Rowan's gone into defence for the Cats. Well, that's advantage Carlton everywhere there in that forward line. I wonder if they accept that somebody else, maybe it's even Paddy Dangerfield, who's probably battling a little bit at the moment, could go to Cripps, play a role. Just we need you for half a game to play a different role so that Blitzarves can roll back.
Yep.
And then they can get some sort of solid backline going again. Blitzarves hasn't done it for 18 months or so in that backline, but just looking,
quite capable of doing that.
Looking to shore up that backline, but put the asset on to the new skipper maybe and say, hey, we need you to do an unfamiliar role as a big, strong midfield body against the Carlton skipper and just keep him down. Because right now, Cripps is quiet. Let's keep him quiet, otherwise things could get completely out of hand.
Yeah, well, and Kennedy's taken over that role. Kennedy's been, I thought Kennedy was their best player that quarter. But when you analyse what's happening through the middle with Geelong, Cameron's the leading possession getter on for Geelong and not far from the ground. Actually, he's had a 12 and 3. Smith is a winger. Bose is 8 and 4. Holmes 5 and 6. Hasn't really had the penetration that you want from him where you carry the football. Dangerfield 3 and 8, but you wouldn't know because Dangerfield's better if he has 8 and 3 more than 3 and 8. So he's just dropped that little bit of place. Stanley's getting the ball. But when Atkins last year was so a 25 to 30 possession game player, he's only had 8 possessions, not getting the football. Guthrie's not getting the football. He's only had 6.
He's an interesting. Ed Curnow has gone to him. Only had the 3 disposals. Cam Guthrie in that corner. Ed Curnow's had 12 in the first half.
Yeah, Ed Curnow, that's Ed Curnow. Ed Curnow, don't let it off the leash. If you let Ed think he's a Brownlow medalist, Ed gets nothing. If you give him a job to do and say, don't worry about the football, he ends up with the football. But he also just dags the player to death. And, they have nightmares the next week. They look in the mirror and there's Ed looking at them. So, and that's his go. And I think good clubs need that type of player to get into the competition. You can run with it once you get established, but early on when you're up against the better sides, and let's face it, Geelong are probably one of the better, if not the best side, then you've got to curtail the influence of perhaps one of their players that has been dominant for so long but seems to seep out. And Guthrie seeps out, gets his 30 possessions. Now all of a sudden, Selwood's not there, Dangerfield's not playing as well. Let's take Guthrie out. It's a very good move by Michael Voss.
Thoughts of Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling. It's half-time. Carlton by 8 points, having led by a game-high 14 time on in the second quarter before that late goal to Jeremy Cameron. He's got a couple for the Cats. Charlie Curnow has 3 at the other end for the Blues. The teams have come out for the remainder of the round. I'll bring you up to date with all of those, plus what's happening in other sports. Second half action just around the corner. But first, let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. The Liberal leader Peter Dutton says he remains unconvinced about the wording for a referendum proposing to enshrine an Indigenous voice to Parliament in the Constitution. Talia Roy reports from Parliament House.
Mr Dutton says his party is yet to decide whether it will support the voice and is again calling for more details.
I think it's absolutely essential that the Prime Minister releases the Solicitor General's advice.
Earlier, Anthony Albanese revealed the question that will be put to Australians.
A proposed law to alter the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. Do you approve this proposed alteration?
Nationals leader David Littleproud says his party remains opposed to the voice.
China has stepped up its lobbying against the AUKUS submarine plan, saying it will lead to more countries transferring nuclear materials. Here's East Asia correspondent Bill Birtles.
China is intensifying its campaign at the international nuclear watchdog, the IAEA. China's representative has issued a paper to other members saying the AUKUS plan will undercut efforts to prevent the spread of weapons-grade nuclear fuel. He also accused Australia, Britain and the US of coercing the IAEA into signing off on the deal. To date, the International Atomic Energy Agency has been satisfied with the safeguard plans that the AUKUS countries are offering to ensure the nuclear reactors for the submarines are handled safely.
A Chinese national has been arrested in Papua New Guinea in connection with an operation to smuggle more than $15 million worth of illicit drugs into Australia. Here's PNG correspondent Natalie Whiting.
5 men have been arrested in Australia for allegedly smuggling 52 kilograms of methamphetamine from Papua New Guinea on a small aeroplane. Australian Federal Police intercepted the plane in rural Queensland. In PNG, police have arrested a Chinese man. Acting Deputy Commissioner Donald Yamasombi says it's believed the man was attempting to fly out of PNG when he was apprehended.
Charges will be laid by today. They are still interrogating him at the moment.
A search warrant has also been executed on a premises, and other foreigners and Papua New Guineans are being investigated. Natalie Whiting, ABC News, Port Moresby.
A local council in WA's Kimberley region's calling on the state government to conduct a thorough review of major food shortages after flooding blocked road access earlier this month. Locals say Kununurra's only 2 supermarkets ran out of fresh food within the first day of the week-long flood, while emergency food supplies were slow to arrive. The Deputy President of the Shire of Wyndham East Kimberley, Tony Schaefer, says residents had to be concerned about simply putting food on the table.
Well, look, yeah, there was an immediate impact on prices. But, yeah, I think it was more challenging because people were really starting to panic where, you know, their next meal of fresh produce was coming from.
A marine ecologist says ocean warming is one of the major threats to the decline of marine life species. A new study's found more than 500 species of fish, seaweed, coral and invertebrates that live on reefs around Australia have declined in the past decade. The University of Tasmania's Associate Professor Rick Stewart-Smith is one of the study's authors. He says increasing ocean temperatures are presenting what he's termed an existential threat.
I think what we need to be careful about is how it interacts, how it's impacting the ways we interact with particularly things like fisheries. We can't just manage fisheries as fisheries. We need to consider them in the context of the massive change that's happening. And so we need to change the way we manage things, basically.
Heading overseas, North Korea has fired 4 cruise missiles off its east coast as the United States and South Korea hold joint military drills. Defence officials in Seoul say that Pyongyang has made progress in making its nuclear warheads fit tactical guided weapon systems. The North has ramped up the number of missile launches recently in what some analysts say are preparations for more nuclear tests. Actress Lindsay Lohan, rapper Akon and several other celebrities have agreed to pay tens of thousands of dollars to settle claims that they promoted crypto investments to their social media followers without disclosing they were being paid to do so. Recording artists Neo and Lil Yachty, boxer Jake Paul and adult film performer Michelle Mason have all agreed to pay a combined $598,000 to settle the claims. 2 other celebrities, rapper Soulja Boy and singer Austin Mahone, haven't yet reached a settlement. That's the latest from ABC News.
Simone Young is one of the most talented conductors of her generation.
When I started, I faced considerable opposition.
Executive producer Kate Blanchett takes us into the world of one of our greatest conductors.
In 1991, there were no women conductors.
What does being a woman have to do with conducting?
She's not afraid to just be a boss.
Simone Young, Knowing the Score.
It is magic.
Tuesday, March 21st on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Holmes gives it by hand and Hawkins in the pocket. Kicks back in, ball juggled mark, Blitzards. For all Carlton's hard work, their lead is now gone. Just 1 minute into the second term, Geelong back in front.
Ryan Myers kicks towards the lead of Ollie Henry's, who marks on his chest. Couple of goals in his new colours last week. Ollie Henry comes in and steers it straight through the middle.
Spills down to Acres of the Blues. Hand pass to Ed Curnow. Kicks to Charlie. Curnow marks right on the paint for the 50. Turns and just drills it goalward. Charlie Curnow goes straight to his brother and says thanks for a bit of that. The low trajectory bullet goalward draws Carlton within 3 points.
Harry Mackay sets himself. Stanley in front. Spills into the back. Jack Silvani's in the back. Hand pass to Owies into the open goal. Carlton are back in front.
Hand pass to Akers, kicks to Mackay in a wrestle with Radicalier. Radicalier took the body and Mackay will get the free. Trying to open up the angle, he missed a drop punt earlier with DeConing off the ground. He's on the board. Mackay bends it through and the Blue Baggers are on a roll.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Got out to 14 points late in the quarter. It's 8 points the margin at half time. It is Carlton who lead the reigning premiers. The Blues haven't won a game since July 24. 6-8-44. They lead Geelong 5-6-36. Carlton by 8. Thursday night footy to start round 2 of the AFL. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch calling the footy. Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling, your grandstand AFL experts, and Tim Hodges on the boundary. Now, we're on ABC Radio. We're also on Sport Digital, and for the first time in 2023, we are now streaming through the ABC Listen app. So you can download that, listen to every game of the AFL season uninterrupted, full play-by-play coverage. If you are struggling to find the call of your selected game, I suggest as soon as you open up the app, bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a magnifying glass. If you click on that and search AFL, the first two things that come up are the ABC AFL button, where the primary stream will be, and then there'll be AFL ABC Extra. Now, the extra button will be when there's a second game running at the same time, so things like Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, Sundays, when there's overlapping games, and you'll be able to get the full broadcast on the other channel. So just toggle between the two, and you can't go wrong right throughout the AFL season. So that is the ABC Listen app streaming the footy for the first time this year. The SMS is 0437 774 774. Cameron took that mark further out of bounds than Wayne Harm's tapping. There's 37 umpires on the ground and a million cameras, and they still can't get it right. From Pete off the SMS. And
I reckon there's a few Cats fans who felt that way about Jesse Motlop, so I think we're 1-1, aren't we?
Cameron going back, kicking the goal, and that game high lead of 14 for the Blues cut to 8 at half time. Now, there is NRL on tonight. The Parramatta Eels up against the Penrith Panthers. It is a grand final rematch. They're 2 rounds ahead of us at the moment, so round 4 of the NRL. Parramatta lead the Panthers 6-0. So converted try to start for Parramatta 16 minutes in. And it is stumps on day 1 of the Sheffield Shield final. Victoria 8 for 194 after being sent in by WA at the WACA ground. Actually, Chandrasinghe is 46 not out. He's batted the entire day. Faced 266 balls for his unbeaten 46.
I was watching that today when he came in, and it was only a couple. That pitch was doing a lot, though, Corbs.
Yeah.
So that's a good innings. You just need to fight it out sometimes.
They were 2 for 66, I reckon, the Vicks at lunch, and then they were falling like 9 pins, and he was batting like Bill Laurie. I think he had 4 off about an hour at one stage.
That's amazing. The teams for this weekend are in. The key ones to note, Dane Zorko has been named for Brisbane, so he'll be playing tomorrow night. Biggins for Melbourne. On the other side of that game, Viney, May, Fritsch. So they get 3 of the 4 backs. Still no Salem. Kazai Pickett's obviously suspended. Melksham, Laurie and Tomlinson have all been omitted. The Pies are here on Saturday afternoon against Port Adelaide. So Billy Frampton named to make his club debut. He comes in for the injured Jeremy Howe. Saturday night at Dockland, Seb Ross is back for St Kilda. There's big outs at the Western Bulldogs. Jason Johannesson, their Norm Smith medalist, has been omitted. Rory Lobb and Adam Treloar are both injured. The other Saturday night game is in Perth, and Todd Goldstein comes back in for North Melbourne, obviously with the injured Tristan Sherry. Aidan Corr also named to make his return for North Melbourne. The Sunday games, obviously squads at this point, but Elijah Hewitt, who's a high pick for West Coast, has been named. Big outs at GWS, their opponents in Perth. Kelly, Perryman, Whitfield, all named among the outs for GWS. Anthony McDonald-Tipungwuti, after his return, he's out injured, having come on in the last quarter. And for Sydney, among the ins in their game up against Hawthorn, Corey Warner has been named, who is the brother of Chad Warner, of course, had that breakout season last year. So there's just a few of the key names across the weekend for the teams, having been released earlier this afternoon for the remainder of round 2. Tim Hodges is on the boundary. Hodgie, what can you tell us? Feels like there's been a fair bit happening down there.
Oh, there sure is. A second straight week, the Cats have had all sorts of calamity down on their bench. Sam DeConing is the big one, guys. He came off late in that second term after a heavy knock. He was groggy. He had real jelly legs. At one stage, the doctor actually put his hand on his back to almost keep him upright. He came straight off and went straight down to the rooms for the concussion test. I'm honestly staggered. But he is back out there and he's warming up, and he'll take his place to get back out into the action in this third term. So huge for the game, huge for the Cats, but I'm amazed.
Thanks, Hodgie. They've had 2 passes tonight. So Zach Tui earlier in the night and now Sam De Koning both going off for the head injury assessment and both coming back all clear to return.
Well, that's good news, and the doctors now are so good at that and much more thorough and do everything absolutely spot on. So the fact that they've passed means they are obviously right. It's big in the context of the game because that Geelong defence was looking very, very thin. De Koning heading straight down back as expected with Radagalair. So I'd say it'll go back to the original matchups now. De Koning to Harry Mackay and Radagalair onto Charlie Curnow, who's already got the 3 goals under his belt. Michael Voss, I think at half-time, he must be pleased. Not that he wants Paddy Cripps to be quiet in a game of footy, but the fact that Cripps has been quiet and they're still dominating around the middle, playing good football, Chera, Kennedy, these types of players leading the way, Akers finding a bit of footy. Lots of positives for the Blues. Now they've just got to finish their work when they do go forward.
So Carlton continue to hold their noses in front. They lead by 8 points as we get the second half underway. Stanley and Pitnet. Stanley wins down the tap to Blitzabs. There's nowhere to go as Patrick Cripps lays the tackle. And Cooper White, the sub for the Cats, ex-basketballer inside midfielder. As to whether he might get an opportunity at some stage. Free kick in the ruck going Pitnet's way.
Might spend little bits of time down back too, possibly.
Pitnet out to Blake Akers, who had the most disposals in the second quarter. Desard, who kicks inside 50. Harry Mackay lost his opponent, and he marks in the left forward pocket. Hard against the boundary. Sam De Koning makes sure he's put on his angle. That was better delivery inside 50 for the Carlton forwards.
Well, it went in with a bit of pace, Matty. You know, that's what got Geelong defence in, because it was a real quick lead out. It was a long, low kick in.
4 disposals, 1-1 for Big H. As he starts his approach, hard out in the left forward pocket. Comes in, drop punt across the face. And misses everything out of bounds on the full. And the Cats will take the free kick through Jed Hughes.
What he has done, he's lost his run-up. He tends to be now very, very straight on his run-up. Someone said to him, you've got to run in straight. Well, left footers don't run in straight. Let him be natural.
Hughes in the back pocket, kicks out to half-back, but Pitnet takes the intercept mark for Carlton. Just led Stanley to the footy and now can dump it back inside 50. Silvani flies for it, centre-half forward. No mark, spills through to Sam De Koning. Hand pass, a turnover. Jack Silvani on the end of it, feints to hand pass. He shoots goalward. Misses out to the left. And behind for Silvani.
Should have hand passed. Let me tell you right now, should have hand passed. There are 2 targets right in front of him.
Carlton by 9 points, 6-9 to 5-6, 2 minutes into the third.
Zach Tui plays on, takes a bounce immediately for the Cats. A beautiful kick. He finds Sam De Koning at left half back. Blues leading by 9 points. He looks up the southern wing, drives the kick as high and as long as he can. Have a go at that. In front position, Blitzabs can't claim the mark, and then Myers becomes the tackle on Nick Newman. Blitzabs tries to wrestle the footy clear. The umpire thought about blowing his whistle. He ends in the hands of Hollands as he's tackled by Myers.
From Muzz off the SMS, great to have football back. 2 legends in the commentary on the radio broadcaster's top shelf from Muzz.
What about me and Mick?
I was going to say, it's always fun with Mick and Lingy. Thanks, Muzzer. Kennedy breaks away from the stoppage. Hand pass to Chera. Inside 50, turn. The mismatch on Reece Stanley as he pushed inside 50. And one of Carlton's mosquito fleet who weren't featuring last week, Corey Durdin, with a chance to kick the opening goal of the second half.
The direction has clearly been there at half-time. Spot on by Michael Voss. Get it in there quick. Even at times, if it's low and to grass, just do it, because those Geelong defenders now are a little bit disorganised, a little bit on the back foot. They'll become reactive. There'll be plenty of opportunities.
The 20-year-old, 15 goals last season to give them the perfect start. He hits the post. Into the left goal post, probably just more than halfway up. And another behind for the Blues. So 2 consecutive behinds. They lead by 10 points. 3 minutes gone, third term. 6-10 all of a sudden.
Played 21 of the 22 games last year, Corey Durdin. Missed with a hamstring strain in the first week. A long kick out from Tui, and Blitzarves arriving late takes the mark, and Sam DeConing bangs bodies in that pack again.
He was dragged to ground. I wonder if he may have hit his head on the ground again.
That was Akers he had the collision with as Akers was entering that pack, and DeConing very slowly getting up. Blitzarves back into defence with the kick, got the Tui on the half volley. Motlop closes him down, kicks along the boundary line, and Cam Guthrie just takes the mark, holds out Kennedy in front of the Geelong bench. And the trainers are up on their feet trying to get out to Sam DeConing. Short kick from Guthrie's picked off. Fisher forces the turnover. Akers, hand pass back to Fisher. Short kick to Cripps. And touched on a quiet night. And Blitzarves running with him as the kick to centre half forward. Juggled effort, Charlie Curnow. 3 in the first half, and now an early look at them. He marks 45 out, centre half forward for the Blues.
So the flow-on effect, sorry Mick, DeConing saw down here.
Yeah.
His head didn't hit the ground. It was a clash with Akers. He was caught up here, so Radagalier goes to Mackay in the goal square.
Yeah.
Leaves Curnow exactly where he wants to be. I think Jeremy Cameron trying to get there, but was free inside forward 50. This Geelong defence is under pressure, and the Carlton forwards are feeling it big time.
In the land of high-quality key forwards tonight, Charlie Curnow is threatening to tear the game apart. He's got 4 already. We're only 5 minutes into the third term. Carlton lead it by 16 points, a new game high. 7-10-52, Geelong 5-6-36. Cameron Lang, Mick Malthouse, Grandstand AFL.
Well, I'm just going along with what Jude said, Lingy, because right in front of us, we were talking about DeConing and saying, like, he's picking himself up. He looks like he's feeling a bit sorry for himself. Like, he's got the knee from last week. He's probably a bit worried about that. He's been cleaned up once. He got cleaned up just in front of us again, and it was all quite legal. Couldn't then get back into play. But Curnow come from a long way out. He come from 70 metres out. Cripper was able to spot him up leading in across the 50-metre line, and that's what got Geelong, because the Cats then were pulling back into that goal square on Mackay.
Mick Malthouse with you on ABC Sport. Bounce surely is going to be recalled. Gives us a chance to go down to Tim Hodges.
There is good news. The doctor has been out again to Sam DeConing, third time tonight. He did wave him off, so he does want to get back into this contest and doesn't want the doctor anywhere near him. So I think that's good news for the Cats.
Stanley, one down the tap to Atkins. Beautiful tackle from Tom DeConing. Superb effort to follow up his ruck work. They'll do it once more in the middle of the MCG. Stanley wins down the tap. Cripps tries to get a hand pass underground. Picked up by Stanley. Gets the hand pass to Holmes. Chips a kick away. And the kick largely is over the head of Cameron. Bewes' kick was just trying to put it to his advantage, but in the end, it was an easy one for Lewis Young to spoil away. The boundary's rolling where the boundary line meets the 50-metre arc. The Blues by 16 points.
Kicking 2 at City and Geelong in this third quarter. 16-point lead, game high for Carlton for the boundary throw-in. Comes down to Jeremy Cameron, squeezes a kick, travels 2 metres to Blitzarves, hand pass to Smith. Shanks his left footer straight up in the air, but Holmes is at the drop. Hugs it to his chest. 50 out, centre half forward, kicks across the arc, and Jeremy Cameron marks. Left half forward.
Good awareness there by Holmes, knowing that it was Jeremy Cameron. Right now, anywhere within 60, you just give it to him, wouldn't you, Mick?
Well, what I like about Cameron, he doesn't stay still.
Yeah.
And he doesn't give him an easy target. It's not as if he goes back to the goal square and does his lead. He leads across the 50-metre line. He comes down to the pocket. He comes out of the goal square. That one there, he just ran diagonally across the ground. Holmes found him.
Imagine he's still on call. Partner Indy still about to give birth to their first child. There's Jeremy Cameron. His long left footer is perfect. Straight through to answer back at the other end for the Cats. Jez has got 3. Curnow leads the big forwards with 4 at the other end. But the shootout ensues. Early stages, third quarter, 8 minutes into the term. 7-10 to 6-6, Carlton by 10 points.
I just love the difference. They remind me of each other, but Curnow's had 5 and 1 for 4 goals. Cameron's had 14 and 3. Going at 79%, getting a lot of the ball up around the wing, and Curnow's been up around the wing, so it's not as if he doesn't travel. But these two players, this is, and I know that Cameron's 30, but he's a young 30. He's got 3 or 4 more years, and you look at Curnow, it's any young boy at that size, have a look how they play. Yep. They are absolutely outstanding to their craft.
Jeremy Cameron finished 5 goals behind Charlie Curnow. You feel like they might be scrapping it out this year in the battle for the Coleman medal. Cripps trying to get the clearance in the middle of the ground. Chera comes in and the footy's stuck underneath Ed Curnow. Tanner Bruin over the top of him. Umpire quickly throws it up. A lot of numbers around the stoppage. Stanley got it down to Bruin. High kick inside 50. Rowan comes charging out. Got an awkward bounce. Takes possession of the footy. Akers lays the tackle. Hand pass to Stengel. Kicks looking for Hawkins. Awkwardly bounces in front of Wiedering. Cameron tried to keep it in play. He was over the line this time. As he tapped it back to Hawkins. Kicked across the face and found Holmes, but it was over the boundary line. Right forward pocket for the Cats. Trail by 10 points. Spinning back into play as Tom Hawkins once more will do the ruck work against Tom De Koning. Trying to hold him off, but De Koning taps it down straight to Akers. Hand pass to Wiedering. Long clearing kick towards the boundary line. Harry Mackay races after it and pitches on its point and races away from him. He escorts it over the boundary line and a throw in just across from the two benches. Carlton leading by 10 points.
A few similar names out there tonight. We got the Guthries, the Curnows, the De Konings, sets of brothers. We got a Buse and a Bose, a Mackay and a McGovern, and an O'Brien and O'Connor. Just to add to the similarities and the differences between the two teams. From the boundary throw in, here is one of them. Tom De Koning hacks it to centre half forward. Tui picks it up. Mackay's got him. Ball comes free. Forward pocket. Owies collects. Kicks to Curnow in the goal square.
Harry Mackay, take a bow, and the Carlton teammate gets straight to Mackay there. He's only kicked the one goal, Harry Mackay, but he's created this one for his partner in crime, Curnow.
Charlie Curnow from point blank range has 5 in 2 and a bit quarters. He's having a night out. 11 minutes into the third term, Carlton restore a 16-point lead. 8:10:58 Geelong, 6:42. Grandstand AFL on ABC Sports, Sport Digital, and now streaming through the ABC Listen app.
Now, Radaglia, to me, I reckon he's injured. I reckon he's got a bit of a hamstring. I'll say that. Tim, you might be able to look at that, but he couldn't go and get to that he couldn't lunge quick enough to get into Curnow's area there.
What do you reckon, Hodgie?
Yeah, it's a left hamstring, Mick. He just rubbed his hand down along it. Speaking to the physio is now speaking to the doctor. They'll take him down to the rooms, and I think it's not looking good for Asava. And Cooper White, we might see come into this game. So he's now walking past me. He'll be helped down the rooms. That's a left hamstring concern.
Atkins tries to get the clearance of the Cats. Great tackle from Tom De Koning for the Blues. Kennedy knocks it on to Durden. Broke the tackle. Got it to Tom De Koning. Long kick. Here's Charlie again. Can't take the mark. He tries to knock it out against Zach Guthrie. Oh, he's ran into a dead end. Bowes over the shoulder.
They're panicking Geelong backs now. Once the ball hits the deck, I don't care who you are, what you are, that ball's a different ball on the ground. If it's in the air, they can mark it. Stewart can direct the traffic and stuff. When it hits the ground, you've got to either get the football yourself, but if the opposition get it, you've got to be so careful how you treat him. And that was just straight over the neck. So there's a real panic from Geelong, and it's happening from the middle as well. They're just not clearing the football and putting Geelong young players are under massive pressure.
A goal already for Matt Owies, directly in front, only about 20 metres out to continue the momentum for the Blues. Listen to the baggers roar. 3 goals to 1 in this third quarter, and Carlton open up a 22-point advantage, the biggest lead of the match. 9-10-64 to the Cats, 6-6-42. 13 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport. A second goal for Matt Owies.
We've been repeating it all night, haven't we, Mick? Carlton have to get that ball in quick and often, because that Geelong defence is undermanned and disorganised, and as you said, now starting to panic. Zach Guthrie is the man lining up with Charlie Curnow, and Zach Guthrie's improved, but he's giving away 7 centimetres, 10 kilos, and a whole lot of experience to Charlie, who's already got 5 goals on the board. They've just got to be thinking, get it there.
Geelong, there's something interesting here. Cameron's in the middle. He needs to stay in the middle because he can run and he can get the football.
Pitternet wins it down to Cripps, and it's hugged to him by Cam Guthrie. A ball up again opposite the centre circles.
Dangerfield's gone forward.
Now the verdict's in. The Shane McAdam appeal has failed. He will serve his 3-match ban, so no luck for Adelaide and Shane McAdam after that lengthy appeals hearing tonight.
Myers tries to knock it out for the Cats. Akers onto it on half-back. Hand pass to Cowan, snaps it across his shoulder. Awkward bouncing ball away from Mitch McGovern. Becomes the tackle on Tui. Dragged him out of the contest. Matt Kennedy gathers. Hand pass to Hollands. Works it out to half-forward. Owies didn't take the mark. Has support trying to get around Buse. O'Connor gets back and takes the mark. In front of Harry Mackay in the left back pocket for the Cats. Blues by 22.
Carlton midfield completely on top this quarter, Mick. They are just all over them. Contested possessions, +9 Carlton's way.
Hurried kick off the back flank. Pitternet charging through. Can't complete the mark. Hollands had it. Tackled. Lost it. Buse with the tackle. Dangerfield keeps it alive. Back to Bruin. There's a free kick for a high tackle, and Ed Curnow just got him a little high, so Bruin for the Cats kicks across the back flank to O'Connor, swings it from one back flank to the other. Here's Holmes, runs inside the centre square, plays on for Geelong. The 1-2 with Cam Guthrie, too much hang time. Holmes tried to get it back inboard to Zach Guthrie, McGovern's got it. He's tackled, and again it's Carlton's pressure, forcing the neutral ball. And a ball up in the centre of the G. Carlton by a game high 22 midway through. This third quarter.
They've got to sense this. They've got Geelong on the ropes right now, forcing bad decisions, bad skill errors, great pressure there. Max Holmes had the ball. He had Brad close on, simple one over the top. Then there's an entry inside 50. Instead, tries to create something. They get a stoppage. They are all over them.
Chera locked up by Dangerfield and Rowan. Pitnet down to Cripps, kicks out to the members' wing. Zach Guthrie protected it for Bose, ran onto it, kicks wide of Myers. And Mitch McGovern takes intercepting mark for the Blues at left half back. Kicks to Akers, Zach Guthrie into his back. That'll be 50. Maybe just a bit of the frustration boiling over, but that was a costly error. And we'll take Akers to just outside 50. All of a sudden it's 7-3 inside 50s. He kicks to the pocket, looking for Charlie Curnow. He's got 3 to beat. And Jezza Cameron in defence takes the mark in front.
Well, he'll help. Cameron will help because he'll get him behind the ball and he can mark. He knows where the football's going to go. So this is plugging a gap, but it will work.
3 goals to 1 for the quarter. Carlton's way. Jeremy Cameron, uncharacteristic. Miscues his kick, ends up on the lap of Kennedy, heads inside 50, Tom DeConing climbs, can't mark, spills down to Isaac Smith, hand pass to centre half back, Dangerfield locks up Chera, ball spits out, Ed Curnow had it, lost it, half back for the Cats, Bose's kick smothered, ricochets to Bruin, he gives it off his knees to Dangerfield, hand pass to Atkins, kicks down the wing but it's a turnover, Young back the other way, to Captain Carlton as Paddy Cripps takes the mark 70 out, looks inside 50, Mackay hitting up, no mark. Sam DeConing for the Cats, hand pass picked up by Owies, tackled by Zach Guthrie, ball spits out to Durden, Durden kicks it from out wide. Carlton in rhythm. Corey Durden, soon as he got possession, pushed towards the ground, kicked it outside of the right boot, and somehow found its way through the major opening. Carlton by 28 points, 17 gone in the third, 10-10 to 6-6. And Corey Durden kicks his first of the night.
Dominating at the moment, Mick. Carlton. Well, great pressure, great midfield control, providing opportunities. Sensational goal there by Durden. A magnificent finish, but 10 inside 50s to 3 Carlton this quarter.
Yeah, it was. I'm just interested to see how Michael Voss reacts here, because what's happening, he put the Coney in there with Mackay and Curnow. To me, that's a bit of an overkill because the ball can get run out. But at the moment, Geelong aren't making the most of that fallen ball in the forward in the back line. But now they've taken Mackay off and
Radically is back on. Amazing.
Yeah, just came back on. Pitnet wins down the tap for the Blues to Kennedy. Back to Pitnet. Hand pass sharp by Myers to Cam Guthrie. Good acceleration. Gets to 50. Goes for home. Misses to the right.
That's what they're forcing, Clinchy. Ollie Henry had a 8-metre break on his opponent then. Good lead, would have been a set shot, 35 out on a slight angle. Instead, Guthrie blazed away, put it on the full. That's what Carlton's pressure's doing.
Young Desardi, short kick to Doherty was risky, but he was taken high. And the Blues lead by 28 points. Sam Doherty at left half back after the high contact from Hawkins.
He wants to switch. He's going to have a go down the southern side, runs to the back pocket and then kicks long out to the opposite back flank, and Hollands marks against the boundary line. Hollands goes short to Owies, marks right half back. In from Melbourne. Hi team, enjoying the call. Come on Cats, I dislike the Blues. Remember the Lloyds are on either end as well. Simon and Brad, obviously one at Geelong, the other at Carlton. Short kick here to Newman. Half-back for Carlton. Long kick down the wing. Here's Radaglia fresh on the ground. Can't take the mark. Spills to Atkins. Still in the Cats' hands. Kicks down the wing. Standing underneath it, Isaac Smith. No mark. Spills to Tui. Spun around 360. Got it to Atkins. He's tackled. Great chase, Chera. With a chase down tackle, wins it back to Carlton. Baggers by 28 points. Approaching time on in the third. It's at a game-high margin.
Pressure is so impressive in this quarter. They've got all the momentum their way on the back of it.
Chera drives a kick towards half forward. Charlie Curno's there. Tom De Koning as well. It gets to the back. Stanley's onto it. The Cats ruckman feeds it back to Tui. He looks to lace it out to half back. It's on the bounce. Tough one for Tanner Bruin. Tackle dispossessed. Socket into the middle of the ground by Smith. That might work. Stengel runs onto it. They're streaming back. Stengel takes a bounce. Gets to 50. Pulls his kick. Looking for Ollie Henry. He takes the mark in the left forward pocket. Hard work to get it there. And Henry with an important kick now.
Completely against the run of play. Carlton had another half chance and it just went Geelong's way. So his shot at goal.
He's kicked one already. Henry off a step, casual as you like, steers it straight through the middle. That'll work. And after 3 goals on the trot for the Blues, the Cats look to start the climb back. The margin's cut back to 22 points. 10-10-70 to Geelong 7-6-48. 20 minutes gone, third term. Ollie Henry with his second.
Reminds me of a heavyweight bout. The contender and the champ, and they're on the ropes, but you never count them out. I know that everything is falling Carlton's way. They just look good. There must be, I don't know why Larry Galliev is holding his hamstring, but clearly it might have been back related or whatever. So you're looking at a midfield that's been patched up a little bit. I like the move of getting Cameron in there because it put a little bit of a dent in the forward line structure of Geelong where they had to negate him. And that goal come from nowhere, but that's what Geelong do. They're able to always seem to be able to find that goal that gets them an opportunity.
Back to 22 points. Pittonet the hit out, big collision. Bowes off the wing. Kennedy up to meet it out of the middle. Bowes wins it off his knees. Got it to Dangerfield. Hand pass to Stanley. Kicks a high bomb for the Cats to half forward, but Doherty underneath it takes the intercept mark for Carlton.
Brave. Very brave.
So brave. That ball floating around high, knowing a pack's coming.
Doherty to Cripps. Man he used to captain the team with. Cripps now doing it alone. He marks in front of the bench. Heads inside the forward arc. Jack Silvani with a run at it. No mark. Spills down underneath Sam De Koning to the Cats. Away to Stanley. To Buse under pressure. Got it to O'Connor and a hand pass to Zach Guthrie. Kicks off the back flank.
It might work. It's out in front of Myers who tries to race onto it at right half forward. Doherty off his chase. Takes the bounce. Ignored Stengel in the pocket. Goes for Cameron. It won't get to him. And the intercepting mark is taken by Mitch McGovern. Carlton's turn to attack. Swings it out to Hollands. He looks up to the wing, ignores Motlop, has Silvani deeper still. Around the southern wing, Buse gets there late. Cannon into him, gave away the free kick. And Jack Silvani will have it between wing and half forward. All the tall timber is down there. Tom De Koning, Harry Mackay. Mark Pitnet's gone down. Silvani sends it in that direction. It's looking for Owies, the unlikely target. It's read by Sam De Koning. Hand pass to Holmes of the Cats. Away to Closer, now to Cam Guthrie.
Cam Guthrie, hand pass to Izzy Smith in the middle. Hand pass to Sam De Koning. Loose handball onto the lap of Newman. He's tackled immediately by Myers. Newman fights on. Somehow got boot the ball. Trickles forward to Motlop. Blues are on at centre half forward. Hand pass to Kennedy. Hits up Tom De Koning, who's out to meet it. And marking 30 out directly in front for Carlton.
Look at the group of players, both Carlton and Geelong. They're just starting to break up now as De Koning passes short to Fisher.
Fisher into the open goal. And the Blues are back out by 28. They answer immediately as the Premiers broke the run at the other end. Carlton restored a 28-point break. Time on in the third term, 11-10 to 7-6. Zach Fisher with his first of the night.
There was a crucial footy around the middle of the ground, and it was just effort after effort, and Newman stood strong and eventually just hacked it forward. Carlton players forward of the play. If it had gone the other way, I think Geelong would have kicked the goal.
Yeah.
But then it was sheer exhaustion from all the players, both teams. And then I think Geelong just went to sleep, maybe through exhaustion a little bit, and Fisher drifted forward and said, thank you very much.
And no numbers down there.
No.
It was married up 1v1 except for Fisher. So he was the fallout.
Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling with you on ABC Sport. So 5 goals to 2, and Carlton having scored 11-10-76. So Geelong's defence hasn't looked like it's been under this sort of pressure too often. Back in the middle of the ground, not officiating umpire blows his whistle. Geelong free kick. Going the way of Tom Atkins for a hold off the ball. Hand pass around the back to Cam Guthrie. Drives it inside 50. Stengel the target. Sard went up early. Got a hand to it. Stengel roved it beautifully. Hand pass to close. Into the open goal and finishes superbly. Just what the Cats needed. The immediate response back to 22 points. It's a rope-a-dope at the moment. 11-10-76 to the Cats. 8-6-54. 25 minutes gone. Third term.
The rope-a-dope doesn't work though when you keep getting belted each time you belt him.
Yeah,
you got to actually cover up a little bit and defend him a bit, don't you? Geelong, the way they took it for, fantastic goal, ran close, nice finish. But they were just all rolling forward, Mick. If that ball had been won at half-back by Carlton had players out again, it would have been a goal down the other end of the ground.
But this is the way Geelong played last year, and they got the ball.
Yes, true.
So that hasn't turned over. That hasn't been registered yet. That hello, we're not winning this as much football. So when you look at this, Carlton have had one less possession, and gone in 6 times more.
Nathan Williamson, the umpire, with another crooked bounce that favours Carlton, and they come up with it. Tom DeConing away to Cripps, kicks across the ground at Akers, who's tackled by Bowes and Atkins, and a ball up just inside the centre square. Just repeating the news from the Appeals Tribunal that Shane McAdam has failed in his bid to overturn a 3-match ban, so he'll miss the next 3 for the Crows starting on Saturday. Free kick for the Blues, and the stoppage advantage applied. Hollands is pushed in the back after he got rid of it. No, just before. And a free kick for Ollie Hollands in the middle of the ground. He's lucky that's not a downfield free kick against Ollie Henry. So Hollands in the middle of the G, hands it off to Sard, kicks to Fisher, takes the mark centre half forward. 55 metres out. Thought about giving it to Newman. Crowded forward 50. Fisher kicks it into close. Gets a second go at it. Jams it on the boot. 30 out from the Blues goal. Mackay up the metre. Tackled by Blitzarves. Ball comes out the back door. Silvani. Hand pass to Hollands, who started it all. Shoots goalward. Bouncing footy. Bounces out. Just took a turn and went out next to the behind post. So we'll have a boundary throw in forward pocket for the Blues. It's Carlton by 22 points, time on in the third.
There's been a lot of smothers, isn't there, in this game? And most players have been clear. They've just taken the one step too many.
Thrown in Silvani, Stanley. Free kick going the Cats' way in the ruck battle against Silvani.
Yeah, smaller man is always going to lose that one. Stanley is a smart player at times. I say at times, not always. He's over 6'4".
Oh, here's his kick, looking for Blitzarves against 2. Akers flies, brought it down to Fisher. Hand pass over the top 2. He has to deal with 2 Blues. He'll get a free kick. He had his legs taken out below him. And Zach Tui, the Irishman, who was off the ground with a concussion test in the opening quarter, has it in the right back pocket. Call to play on. Akers runs at him. The dancing Irish feet. He kicks, missing Stanley. Silvani didn't take it. Stanley needs a win here. Shovels it out straight to Charlie Curnow. Hand pass to Motlop in the right forward pocket. He hand passes to Silvani. Trying to get onto his left. Squares it up to Ed Curnow. Is that 15? It is. Have to get the tape measure out for that one, but the umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt.
I think if you mark it inside 50, whether it goes 1 or 15, it's almost paid. Around the ground, it's called play on.
If you're the attacking team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, no, the backline player, he can kick it 30, and it's doubtful.
At the job on Cam Guthrie, Ed Curnow. So reliable for the Blues over a decade. From the right forward pocket to join the growing party. He does so, and look at them come to celebrate. Led by his younger brother, Charlie Curnow. We got a chance to chat to him on ABC Sport after the draw against the Blues, against the Tigers last week. And he said he was feeling all the effects of having run out a full game, but he was happy to still be here in the AFL. And he's on the scoreboard now for the Blues. It's back out to a 28-point lead. 12-10-82 to the Cats, 8-6-54. It's a 6-3, third term the way of the Blues, which is now 28 minutes through.
It's fair to say, Lingy, I reckon Paddy's Dangerfield's had two shockers. First week, I didn't think he played well. This week, he's really struggled.
I
don't know whether it's the expectations, whether it's the leadership or whatever, but he just doesn't look the same dynamic player.
No, well, he hasn't had a kick this quarter at all. 0 and 3 handballs. And last week, even though he found a bit of the ball, it was rushed and scrappy, definitely.
Back to a game high, 28 points Carlton's way from the restart. Cherry got a hand pass, ended up with Blitzarms though on his knees. Gives it out to Holmes, who kicks inside 50 for the Cats, and a juggled effort. Hawkins eventually hangs on to it. 35 out just left of centre. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Just keeping an eye on Reece Stanley. Hasn't moved since that ruck contest in the middle. Down on his knees, and he's in a lot of pain.
I didn't see what happened to him, quite frankly. It looks like he's holding his midriff, so maybe he got kneed in the midriff.
He's got the replay now, Hodgie.
Yeah, he did. That's a shocking
right
knee.
in the rib.
Shocking knee.
So they've got it to 28 points on 3 separate occasions, the Blues. The Cats have pegged it back on every occasion. And the trend continues as Hawkins with an answering goal for Geelong. Carlton by 22 points, half-hour mark, third term. Carlton 12-10-82, Geelong 9-6-60. And Tom Hawkins, that is his first of the night, seconds before three-quarter time.
And they've managed to counterpunch each time, Geelong, and find that quick reply, but never able to find that next one and the next one, because they're relying on some really good, efficient attacking play and rolling probably forward of the footy, ahead of the ball. But then when Carlton are able to stand strong and win a 50-50 ball and send it the other way, it's back open. So Geelong almost relying on doing it a little easier when they go forward, but that can be quickly reversed the other way, as Carlton have managed to do numerous times tonight.
Cameron Ling with you on ABC Sport. Cooper White and Lockie O'Brien, the subs, yet to be used. Here's Dangerfield streaming out of the middle of the ground. Kicks just wide of Hawkins. Stengel came out, hit it with pace. Saad laid the tackle. Got the hand pass to close to Hawkins. To Myers, 45 metres out. Centre and kicking for Blitzatch. Kennedy up over the top, takes the mark. Big ball to be won. Kicks to Akers in the left back pocket. Drives it up the members wing. Harry Mackay spoils it down against Cam Guthrie to Brother Zach. Back to Cam. He's got a problem. Newman laid the tackle and he wins the free kick holding the footy.
Brilliant
let him
tackle.
know about it.
Brilliant tackle by Newman. Outstanding. Cam Guthrie, very mature, strong player, had momentum, and Newman just stopped him in his tracks.
Newman short and wide out to Akers, who marks in front of the Carlton bench. Cats haven't kicked back-to-back goals since the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. They've only done it twice all night. And 2 is the biggest run that they've put together. They got the last of the game. Can they get the next one? Carlton by 22. And with the footy as Akers sends it down to half forward. It carries the pack. Fisher, hand pass to Cripps. Cripps looks inboard. Deft kick. Hollands marks. Centre half forward. 40 metres out, straight in front.
Brilliant play, Paddy Cripps.
Yeah, absolutely. Good sight.
And another player there rushes that one under pressure and just bangs it on the boot. He just backpedaled, bought himself that moment and laid it off perfectly. Great play.
And he's got his 11 already this quarter. Most of them are counted too. He really makes them count.
He doesn't stay quiet long, does he?
No, he doesn't.
It's been a quarter to celebrate. This would make it a 7-goal term for the Blue Baggers and bring the house down. If Ollie Hollands can kick his first in the big time, he misses. Out to the left, the second gamer. Carlton by 23, 12-11 to 9-6. 33 travelled in the third term.
Cam Guthrie has the kicking duties for Geelong as the siren sounds for three-quarter time. Another dominant quarter the way of the Blues. They kicked 6 goals, 3 to the Cats, 4 straight, and turned what was an 8-point half-time lead into a 23-point advantage heading into three-quarter time. 12-11-83 to the Cats, 9-6-60. Charlie Curnow leads the way with 5 goals for the match, including 2 in that third quarter. Matt Owies has a couple individuals too. Motlop, Harry Mackay, Durden, Fisher, and Ed Curnow. Meanwhile, for the Cats, 3 goals to Jeremy Cameron, 2 goals to Ollie Henry, individuals to Rowan, Hawkins, Close and Blitzavs.
Just repeating the news from the appeals board that Shane McAdam has failed in his attempt to overturn his 3-match ban. The AFL Tribunal Appeals Board agreed with the MRO, Michael Christian, and found him guilty of rough conduct against Giant Jacob Ware last Sunday. Now the appeals board concluded no error in law, and the grading of impact as severe was not manifestly excessive. He will miss games against Richmond, Port Adelaide and Fremantle, so Shane McAdam's 3-match ban to stand, concluding tonight, 2 and a bit quarters into the next round of the season, round 2. It is 3-quarter time, a big third term for the Blues. They lead it by 23 points on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and now streaming through the ABC Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL.
ABC Listen.
So, what's the craziest question you've ever been asked on the Dr. Carl podcast?
Well, Triple J listeners are pretty imaginative, so we've been asked questions like, why do men have nipples?
And what happens if you shoot a gun in space? And how do trees talk to each other? The answer, of course, is the Wood Wide Web.
Carl.
Dr. Carl and Dr. Lucy have all the answers on the Dr. Carl podcast. Find it on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Akers, hand pass back to Fisher, short kick to Cripps. The kick to centre half forward. Juggled effort, Charlie Curnow. In the land of high-quality key forwards tonight, Charlie Curnow is threatening to tear the game apart. He's got 4 already. To centre half forward, Tui picks it up, Mackay's got him. Ball comes free, forward pocket, Owies collects, kicks to Curnow in the goal square. Charlie Curnow from point blank range has 5 in 2 and a bit quarters.
Owies ran into a dead end, Bowes over the shoulder to continue the momentum for the Blues. Listen to the Baggers roar.
Sam DeConing for the Cats, hand pass picked up by Owies, tackled by Zach Guthrie, ball spits out to Durden, Durden kicks it from out wide. Carlton in rhythm.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
The Blues kicked 6 in the first half. They kicked 6 in that quarter alone. They lead by 23 points at 3-quarter time. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse, your experts on Grandstand AFL.
Just saying to Lingy, it's a long way back here from Geelong. Yeah. I mean, this time last year, well, not even this time last year, any time last year you go, Geelong are going to get up. But I'm not sure, Lingy. I'm still waiting for players that you know are the most reliable players, i.e., Dangerfield, Guthrie, even the point of, say, a Buse running off the half back line or Tom Atkins. Yeah, he's down. You've got Holmes, who expectations are so high, hasn't really. You notice him because he's so explosive, but you don't notice him enough. No, and Collingwood, Carlton are doing enough all over the place, line by line. There's no necessary one reliance on one line at the moment. They're fairly complete.
And I'd say one winner for the Cats and one winner only is Jeremy Cameron. Yeah, I should say, Sam DeConing's also been quite good at times down back and held them up. But Cameron's been the dominant player for Carlton. Then you go for Geelong. When you go through the Carlton list, Paddy Cripps, super quiet in the second quarter, enormous third quarter, got going. He's now had 24 disposals for the game. Kennedy's just been terrific. Even that intercept mark that he took down here has been brilliant. Chera's been solid. Akers has worked really hard. Doherty's chipped in at times. Newman, important tackle down here. And then they are now trusting, we've got a brilliant forward line. Geelong are under the pump down back. Let's get it in there. And Charlie Curnow's having a field day. Owies is starting to find the footy. Durden kicked a nice goal. So the smaller players are going hunting as well. Yeah,
and Sard, I was disappointed in Sard last week. I reckon he took an easy one when he put his boot out instead of putting his body over it in a draw. And I'm thinking, have I missed something with Sard? And tonight, I haven't, because he's been really solid. He's intercepted a lot of balls. He put the hands up in front of packs and so forth. So It's been pretty good.
He's looked like the All-Australian version of himself tonight, hasn't he, Adam Sard? Tim Hodges is on the boundary. Hodgie.
Well, both subs have been made. Both paperwork has been put in. I've just got to work out who is subbed. It looks like Reece Stanley has come to the back seat of the bench right in front of me. So there might be enough rib damage that he's done for the night, rightio. So he's got to get the T-shirt. So Cooper White comes in on debut for his first run in AFL footy. And Lockie O'Brien, I believe, is into the game as well. So now it's just a guessing game to see which one of the Blues have been fired out of the game. It's quite confusing when they do it at three-quarter time.
I reckon it might be Jack Silvani, Hodgie.
It looks like a tactical one for the Blues rather than an injury one, but I think Hodgie's spot on with Reece Stanley. It was a nasty knee to the ribs from the ruck contest.
I've always said that if you stand a bit like Cox last year, you put your knee into someone like that in an unnecessary position. I just don't like that. I think they're already vulnerable. They're very brave ruckman, but you don't need to do that.
Carlton by 23 points. They coughed up only one three-quarter time lead all of last season. They got a handy break here on the reigning premiers for their first win since July last year. Tom DeConey wins the first hit out of the quarter, but Dangerfield gets the centre clearance. Bangs the ball down to half forward. Bouncing away to Stengel. Trying to wrong foot Sard. Almost loses his strides. Breaks the tackle. Hits up Jeremy Cameron, who's out on the lead and marking at centre half forward. And he'll shoot from right on 50.
Tyson Stengel just doesn't fumble when he's at speed. He's got such brilliant touch and kick to the man who's been dominant for the Cats, Jeremy Cameron. I was looking, Cooper White's starting down back for the Cats. So, yeah, he can play as a bit of a mid at times, but I'm not surprised. They were talking about him playing a role down back if he had to come on.
Jeremy Cameron's been superb again tonight. From right on the 50-metre arc, his drop punt was tremendous. He so rarely leaves good looks out there. Cuts Carlton's lead to 17. And Geelong with the all-important first goal of the final term. He's got 4 already tonight. We're 60 seconds into the last. It's Carlton 12-11-83. Geelong 10-6-66.
And something, if anything's going to make players nervous, you've got to remember Carlton, how they dropped from 8th to 9th last year, playing in the reigning premiers. Cameron's on fire. He's probably been better than Charlie Curnow because he's been able to get more of the football. But it just leaves the game wide open unless Carlton now take the next 5 minutes. Even if they don't score, control the ball.
Carlton fans have seen their fair share of Hitchcock movies. They know what it's like to have a lead and succumb to it. Having missed the finals last year, having led the Tigers in the final term. Bounce in the middle of the ground. Blitzouts wins down the tap, then follows up his ruck work. Can't get past Doherty as he lays the tackle with Myers. And the umpire will ball it up between the centre circles and the edge of the centre square. Tim Hodges.
Clinchy just confirming it is Jack Silvani who's been subbed out. He sat on the front seat of the bench. He had no interest sitting at the back row and then was told he had to. So I don't think he's particularly happy to be subbed out of the game.
Blitzouts down to Holmes. Kicks inside 50 wrong. Couldn't get hands to it. Knocked it away from Louis Young. Racing after it, Tui, and he runs out of room. And a boundary thrown at right half forward. So do you think Hodgie Stanley is just a tactical sub? Or do you think there's an injury there?
I think he's sore, and probably they want the, Blitzouts to have a go at the ruck and see if something can change.
2 number ones, both out of the game. Stanley and Silvani from the boundary throw-in. Blitzarves kicks into the forward pocket. Stengel floats across the front of the pack, wins possession, kicks right to the teeth of goal. Close, hands on it, tapped through, and in the end it's a minor score. Hawkins tried to keep it alive on the behind line, unsuccessfully.
Well, Cripps broke the Blitzarves tag in that third quarter and just had a huge influence.
Oh, McGovern's kick is a shocker. And the last man you want to turn it over to is Jeremy Cameron.
He's everywhere.
He is everywhere.
He is everywhere. He's played in the middle and did a good job getting behind the ball. What's he coming on for his 6th?
Cuts in front of Doherty, takes the mark. Chance to his 5th to join Charlie Curnow. It's been a battle at different ends for the key forwards. Cameron's been up amongst the footy. Charlie Curnow's played more as the dominant forward. But this to really drag Geelong back within 10 points. Just inside 50. Out to the right. Jezza Cameron. Magnificent. Single-handedly trying to pick him off the canvas. And it's back to 10 points. Jeremy Cameron with his 5th and a little point of the finger to try and motivate the Cats as they start the climb back. 12-11-83 to the Cats, 11-7-73. 2 goals in the opening 4 minutes of the final term have gone the Cats' way.
Mick identified this. This is where the Carlton leaders have to take over on the field. It's no point waiting till the meeting on Monday and having a good chat about what we should have done here or should have done there. It has to be fixed up on the ground now.
Yep.
And the next chance is that the next contact, even if this ball is a repeat ball up and another repeat ball up,
doesn't matter.
Just do not let it go Geelong's way.
Well, they haven't touched the ball, Lingy. There's been 2 goals scored by Geelong, and Carlton have not touched the ball.
Bounce back in the middle. The lead cut to just 10 points. Tom DeConey knocks it down. Ed Curnow shares it with Chera. Carlton get a centre break. Down to half forward. Radaglia arrives late. Knocks it down to Cam Guthrie. Just wrestles Durden for it. And in the end, the umpire says, I'll have it. And the ball up. 60 out, half forward for the Blues. Coming home to the city end. Tom DeConey the head out, but it's Blitzarves who comes up with a footy. Hand pass away to Bruin, through traffic to Myers. Hand pass into the centre square. Youngo for Carlton, gives it to Doherty. Kicks out wide. Chera wrestling Bruin for it. Now Chera's got Smith to contend with, and Smith inadvertently knocks it out of play. A throw-in right in front of Carlton's interchange. Blues by just 10. After Jeremy Cameron has kicked the first 2 goals of the final quarter. 5 minutes into the last.
Toss back into play in front of the 2 benches. Blitzarves, Tom DeConing. Blitzarves got rid of him. Tapped it down to Myers. Almost too slow. Newman laid the tackle. Trying to cut his way through Durden. Gets it to Hollands from centre wing. High ball to half forward. Underneath it, Zach Guthrie. Couldn't hang on to the mark. Radaglia knocked it to Cam Guthrie. Kicks up the wing. Racing back is Nick Newman. Taps it to his own advantage. Under pressure there as Myers tries to work him off the footy. Newman back to Hollands. He's tackled by a ferocious Tom Atkins right against the boundary line. Welcome to AFL footy.
Second game of footy. You don't want to be getting tackled by Tom Atkins. That was vicious.
Pitternet wins it down. Cripps against the boundary line. Hooks it back inboard. But Hughes at the drop takes the intercept mark for Geelong. Carlton by 10 points, 6 minutes into the last. They led by as many as 28 on 3 different occasions late in the third. Carlton with the momentum here though. Sorry, Geelong with the momentum here as Cam Guthrie kicks in the middle of the ground to brother Zach.
Pitnet back.
Gives it back to Cam Guthrie. Inside the centre square, kicks out to right half forward, Tui the target. Akers knocks it to ground, still alive against the boundary line. Half forward for Geelong. Guthrie somehow picks it up, got boot the ball. Back to Jezza Cameron, his kick smothered. He's going to get a second look at it. He runs all the way back to the southern wing.
On a big turning arc, he finds Holmes, who gives it back to Cameron. Kicks inside 50, missed his target. Although Akers dropped the mark, then he cannons into Dangerfield, who's down and slow to rise. Spills to McGovern. He snaps across his body, up to the wing. Sam DeConing underneath it. Gathered by Cam Guthrie. Sends it back inside 50. It's Jezza Cameron who's the player's down.
Shoulder too, I reckon, Clinchy. He went low and hard, but just got smashed in the contest in a lot of discomfort. That is the last thing the Cats need.
Akers to Newman. Back inside the defensive 50 to Wiedering, and now to Cowan in the right back pocket for the Blues.
Cowan out of the defensive arc to Fisher. Going to win the game off his own boot. Jezza Cameron putting his body on the line. He's a bit sore inside the forward arc. The turnover would be interesting. Carlton keep possession on the wing. Ed Curnow with a live footy. Hand pass away to Doherty. Short kick. Gives it back to Ed Curnow. Short kick to Durden. Marks in front of the Carlton bench. What have they learnt, the Blues? They need some composure here early in the final term. Durden down to half forward. Sam DeConing trying to reach over the back. No mark. Cripps got it out. Oh, he's at half forward. Shares it with Charlie Curnow. Heads for home. He's offline. Fades late behind. Carlton by 11. 8 minutes into the final term. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
I've just been keeping an eye on Jeremy Cameron. He's had his hand on his left side rib cage, so he's the only player in the defensive 50 for the Cats, the forward 50 for the Cats. So he's not keen on running too far, but it is rib damage by the looks.
Cam Guthrie with the kick in over the head of Sam DeConing. Henry runs onto it, squaring ball to Myers. He marks centre wing on the members' side. Hand pass to Bose. He's got Blitzhouse free at left half forward. He takes the mark. Cameron's in the pocket. Goes looking for him. He's got Blues back there. Jezza almost pulled in the one-handed mark. Close got it down with McGovern the tackle. Jezza got his boot to the ball but missed the right-hand side of the right goalpost. Through he goes at it, and he almost managed to muster something from nothing. Carlton by 10 points. 9 minutes gone, final term.
He's looking every bit like the best player on the ground, Jeremy Cameron. He's got 5. Charlie Curnow has 5 at the other end. Carlton lead the game by 10. Geelong, though, with the only 2 goals in this final quarter, which is 9 minutes old. They've kicked the last 3 of the game. Wiedering off half-back, long kick down the outer wing. Cam Guthrie chops it off. Game being played in Geelong's front half at the moment. Kicks to centre half forward. Ollie Henry rises, wrestles with McGovern for it. Hits the deck. Bose knocks it out the back door. Carlton with the numbers there, though. Ed Curnow got it from Kennedy. Kicks across the half-back line. Fisher needs a kind bounce and gets it. Rolls onto his left boot. Bangs it long to Charlie Curnow, who marks defensive side of the wing. Carlton by 10 points. 10 played final term.
Cam Guthrie's loose up the wing, so he looks for short options. Finds brother Ed Curnow. Goal scorer tonight. Hand pass to Fisher. Tries to work it around the boundary line of Motlop. Cam Guthrie in from the side. Takes the intercepting mark for the Cats.
This is looking like that second quarter when Geelong got on top. Carlton had to have a big steadier, and the only way they had a steady was to get their midfield to get the football. At the moment, it's just flipped on its head. Really dominant by the Cats.
Cam Guthrie long to row, and he was uncontested in the end. Wiedering came charging out. Hawkins gathers. Long kick towards Jeremy Cameron up against Young, getting back Akers. Good, strong contested mark.
You love that from your winger. Working back hard, most dominant player on the ground. Had to go third man up against him, took a good strong mark, and now they can counter-attack.
Switches to the left back pocket for Newman. Hand pass to Sard. He runs the boundary line. Long driving kick, looking for Mackay. He dropped the mark, bounced off Owies, a push. And Carlton will take the free kick through Harry Mackay on the southern wing.
Geelong well set up behind the ball. And that wall across the half forward line for Carlton, their half back line. Mackay goes short. Hits up Ed Curnow, takes it down on his knees. He chips it out wide. It's too wide. Lockie O'Brien got hands on it, but was already out of play. That's out on the full. Curnow missing the target from 20 metres away. Hughes brings it back into play. Tui drops the mark, puts himself under the pump, hand pass into the back pocket for Sam de Koning. Shares it with Cam Guthrie. He goes all the way back. And a mark taken by the first gamer, Cooper White, the left footer. Slides up the side of his boot, skids close to the boundary line, and Atkins is tackled out of play by Hollins. And a boundary throw in, 55 out from Carlton's attacking goal at the city end. Geelong with the momentum. It's Carlton by 10 points, 12 played final term.
Yeah, the Cats have really turned this because they've been able to get the contested football. Carlton have gone to sleep. There's no run, and hence Geelong then can actually work the ball into their forward line. And so far, it's 8-1 inside 50, which is that is really dominant. 8-1.
Thrown up. Blitzhouse wins down the tap against Pitnet. Got it to Myers. Back to Blitzhouse. Squeezes a kick into the middle of the ground. Newman with a little fumble. Now he's got an issue. Sliding in. Bruin lays the tackle. Kennedy tries to knock it on. Ed Curnow got it to him with a quick kick. Oh, he's just on his own. Can he find him? He does. Some loose checking for the Cats in defence.
The old bees to a honeypot. Clichy, they were just all at the contest.
Really Russian roulette there, Lingy.
Yeah.
They're all there hoping to get the football forward, and Carlton had to play behind the ball. This is what.
Yeah. If they didn't win that ball at the source,
they're gone.
They're a huge stripe again, the Blues.
Oh, absolutely. Because they had 2 players forward.
Matt Owies with 2 goals next to his name so far. For an important response for the Blues, he comes in. Good kick on its way, straight through the middle. And a deep breath is taken by Carlton fans all around the MCG. They've seen this story too many times to have another close nail-biter on their fingertips. Carlton by 16 points. Their first goal of the final term comes at the 13-minute mark. 13-12-90 to Geelong 11-8-74. Matt Owies with his third.
And we've repeated the contested possession stat regularly throughout the night, but there's a reason in a game like this we've done that. When both teams are playing a little bit of Russian roulette and spinning players forward. If Carlton win it, Owies gets a shot at goal and kicks one. If Geelong win it, they're probably having a shot at goal at the other end.
Absolutely.
It makes the contested ball so crucial whoever can stand up strong there, be clean, get it their way, it's going to lead to their team probably winning this game.
Back to 16 points. Pitternet in the middle to do the ruck work, opposed to Blitzarps. Comes down Carlton's way. Chera squeezes the kick out, but it's picked off by Bowes coming off the wing. Shares it on the 1-2 with Dangerfield. The former Sun down to half forward, and Close takes the mark. Front edge of the centre square. Just pops it out in front of Jeremy Cameron. Holland's back in the hole. Courageous spoil. Knocks it down to O'Brien. Hand pass to Young. Kicks down the southern wing. Views likewise for Geelong. Spoils it away from Owies. Turns boundary side. Back onto the right boot. He kicks it out on the full. Needed to hit up Cooper White, the debutant. Missed him. Carlton free kick at half back. Blues by 16 points, an important settler halfway through this final term.
You ever want to know how you win respect from your senior teammates? Exactly what Ollie Hollands just did then.
It's unbelievable.
Superb play.
Lockie O'Brien, the sub, takes the free kick for Carlton, long down the southern wing. Curnow, that's Charlie behind, spoils it down, spills the way of Bowes, picked up by Holland, he quickly kicks it forward. But O'Connor was set the loose in defence of the Cats, he marks it right half back.
And what if you go explain that, Linky, because the public from home, they need to see that was the saviour of the goal.
Mark O'Connor up to Sam DeConey, couldn't take the mark. Blitzavs, hand pass forward to Myers, right on 50 where the boundary meets. Kicks looking for Hawkins or Cameron. Young was in front, he spoils it out of play. A throw in the right forward pocket for the Cats at the punt road end. Carlton by 16 points. 15 minutes gone, final turn.
Oh,
Cameron is slow to get up.
He's so sore.
So boundary throwing, right forward pocket, punt road end where the Cats are kicking. And both rucks miss it. Pitnet just wrestling with Hawkins. Ball spits out to Dangerfield, shares it with Myers, shoots goalward. In the end, he's lucky to register a behind, a minor score. 15 points, Carlton's lead, 15 played, final turn. That Ollie Holland's effort, Lingy?
Oh, brilliant. So the kick to the open side of the ground. Jeremy Cameron at full speed on the lead was going to take a mark. The kick was perfect by Close. Hollands got back, wide open, got the hit, the fist away, and Carlton created a turnover.
Newman long out of defence of the Blues to Akers. Cam Guthrie couldn't get there to get a hand onto it. Blake Akers has it at right half back, the former Docker, short to Cowan. Just takes the mark in front of Close. 10 inside 50 to 2 in this final term, Geelong's way. And the Blues defenders had to withstand a fair bit in the last quarter last week. Long down the wing, Blitzouts in front, can't complete the mark. Chera for Carlton, hand pass inward to Durden. Tackled by Holmes. They turn to the umpire, holding the ball.
Good decision.
Geelong will take it back.
Yeah, took them on, tried to get through. Good tackle.
Max Holmes. One of the 6 out there that didn't play in last year's flag for the Cats. He goes short to Sam DeConing. The wraparound hand pass to Cam Guthrie to centre half forward, and Saad read it well. Floats through, takes the intercept mark. Here they go on the counter-attack. Kicks out wide to O'Brien on that southern wing as he was last week. Long ball down to Durden, who's moved back well to mark. Left half forward. He was the man caught to start that chain. He chips it out in front of Charlie Curnow, and Sam DeConing puts his fist through it, knocks it out of bounds for the Cats. And a boundary throw in 40 out from the Carlton goal. Blues by 15 points, 17 minutes travelled, final turn.
Still plenty of time for the Cats, still 8 minutes of game time remaining. Feel like another one here for the Blues would be big. Thrown in, Tom DeConing and Blitzavs. Tapped down to the front. Ed Curnow runs into a dead end as Bowes and Dangerfield lay the tackle. Just 45 metres out from Carlton's goal at the city end.
Robin Montmorency off the SMS. Can we smell another draw? 0437 774 774.
Ball spills to Ed Curnow, quick kick inside 50, only as far as Bowes of the Cats, kicks it up the southern wing, Pitnet and Hawkins, Pitnet tries to knock it back to Wiedering, less graceful than he would have hoped, and it goes out of play for a boundary throw-in.
The footy news of the night, Shane McAdam failing in his bid to beat his 3-match ban, so not only will he not play on Saturday against the Tigers, he'll miss the next 2 after that. Carlton by 15 points. Fascinating game. 5 for Charlie Curnow at one end, 5 for Jeremy Cameron at the other. And the boundary throw in, Pitternet wins it down. Pack forms at his feet. Chera's locked up. Hump says play on. Gives him a chance to let the ball come out. And eventually it does so to Blitzarves. He's tackled by Hollands, almost riding him like a backpack, and in the end, the umpire says, I'll have it. He's done some good things tonight, Ollie Hollands, in just his second game. High draft pick 11 in last year's national draft. Blues by 15.
Blitzarves rocking solo with Stanley subbed out. Got it down to Holmes, to Dangerfield. Quiet night for him. Long inside the pocket, looking for Cameron. Spills off him and Rowan. And off Nick Newman and across the boundary line. Right forward pocket for the Cats. 15 points, the Blues lead. Carlton have had over 220 uncontested possessions to the Cats, 176. Ball to be tossed back into play with the Cats deep in attack. Hawkins to do the ruck work against Pitnet. Pitnet works his way to the front, knocks it down to Kennedy. He's tackled. Did he have opportunity there as Atkins laid the tackle? Ball spills. Chera tries to sock it off the ground, out towards the boundary line. How will the umpire team this? Insufficient intent.
Why, I don't know why we say anymore.
Geelong free kick, Cam Guthrie's way.
So Cam Guthrie kicks to half forward. Hawkins down there. A few Blues enter the pack. One of them young, Spoils. Comes down Carlton's way though through Cowan. He's tackled, dispossessed. Now Atkins shoots out a slick hand pass to Myers. Gives it to Hawkins. Just pops it out in front of Bowes, who takes the mark. 15 out, slightly left of centre. And he should kick it from here to bring it back to a single-digit game.
Tomahawk will take credit for the pass, but on the replay, he was definitely having a shot at goal, and it just went off the side of the boot and very luckily ended up in the hands of a player playing his first game for the Cats.
It'll still be a goal assist if he can pop this through. Jack Bowes, first game in the hoops. Oh, horrific finish. Slides off the side of his right boot and misses across the goal face from 15 out. Carlton by 14 points, and it should be far more tense than what it is. Still more than 2 straight kicks in it. Blues by 14.
Sard plays on, sends Carlton to half back. Harry Mackay reaches up and takes the mark in front of Asava Radagalia.
I think that's what he's got to do, Mackay's come up the ground, because they need that outlet, Carlton. At the moment, they've really struggled to get the ball out of that back line.
Back to Sard and then back further still to Doherty.
Very good by
35 metres out.
Well done.
Finds Young. Now the hand pass to the run of Sard. Drives a long kick up the southern wing. Cam Guthrie underneath it. Takes the mark despite Kerno running back. He played on. Trying to get the hand pass forward to Atkins. It may still work. Hand pass to Holmes. Works it forward to Close. Hand pass over the top to Myers. 60 from home. Into the pocket. Jeremy Cameron. The man you want the footy in the hands of if you're a Cats fan. He marks in the right forward pocket. He's about 35 metres out from home.
14-3 inside 50 for the same number of possessions. Carlton have put the cue in the rack, and it's far too early.
He'll look to snap on the angle. Step out, snap on his left. Jeremy Cameron with 5 goals next to his name does just that. He's a one-man show. And Geelong still live. It's an 8-point ball game. Carlton 13-12-90 to the Cats 12-10-82. And in the battle between Charlie Kerno and Jeremy Cameron, I'm not sure Charlie Kerno could play much better, but Jeremy Cameron now has 6.
Well, the only trouble for Charlie Kerno this quarter, Clinchy, it hasn't got anywhere near him.
No, 3 times inside 50.
Yeah, Mick just said it. 3 inside 50s Carlton, 14 to Geelong. And Jeremy Cameron's kicked the 3 last quarter goals with those 14 inside 50s. He's just feeling it right now. Carlton, the little whispers inside their heads will be getting louder and louder. And
I'm just trying to find Paddy Cripps. Where is he? He's had one kick
this quarter.
And that's quite amazing.
On 3 occasions, time on in the third term, the Blues led by 28. They now lead by just 8. Cripps involved here. Hand pass to Chera, gets the centre break. Motlop slips over. Zach Guthrie, the intercept mark for Geelong. Sends it down the wing. Sard's been everywhere. Gets the spoil to Hollands. Back to Sard. Kicks inside 50. Charlie Kerno to target. Trying to get his 6th. Wrestling on. Spills to Motlop. He's over. Zach Guthrie kicks to centre half back for the Cats, and Holmes takes the mark. True centre half back.
Works it over the top by foot and finds Isaac Smith. Will he take the game on? You know he will. Straight through the middle. Kicks a beautiful pass that finds Rowan inside the centre square. Kicks long towards Cameron. It's a high ball. Racing underneath it close. They crash the pack. Cameron kept his feet. A chance for Stengel. Can't rip it away from Young. They all turn to the umpire. Top of the goal square for the Cats, and he'll ball it up.
Wow.
Punt road end. It's a game of millimetres at the moment.
On his knees. Dragged the ball in.
Yeah, it's a free kick every other week.
4 minutes on the game clock. Carlton by 8. Ball up top of the Cats goal square. One down by Pitternet. Taken by Hollands. Hand pass to Akers. Kicks to half-back. Turns it over. Izzy Smith, the intercept mark. 55 out. Short kick to Rowan, who marks a step inside the 50.
Carlton have got to be on to Jeremy Cameron's in the pocket. Yeah, Sam Doherty, experienced player, just making sure that he got in front of Cameron. So they didn't do the little pass to him, and Cameron again on his left foot.
But what about that though? When you on out, Geelong had it surrounded. All Carlton were inside. That was a very, very poor defensive setup.
45-degree angle will take a 50-metre plus drop punt from Gary Rowan on the set shot. He hasn't quite hit it. It'll land top of the goal square. Tom de Koning rips it down. Back pocket for Carlton. And now 50. On the way down, Tyson Stengel just grabbed him and pulled him to the ground. Carlton by 8 points with possession. They'll get it at centre half back. Just over 3 minutes on the game clock.
Chips it wide to Newman, who takes the mark at right half back.
So this is where you want to maintain possession, yes, but you still want to be creeping the ball forward.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't want to just go back and invite Geelong to squeeze up on you.
Geelong have kicked 3 goals for in this final term to the Blues 1-1. Akers takes them up, sends it long around the members' wing. Charlie Curnow tries to fly, can't complete the chest mark. Zaf Guthrie against the boundary is pushed out by Kennedy. And a boundary throw in just to the right of the Blues bench.
He's had some good moments in the last 5 minutes, Zach Guthrie. It's an important one-on-one contest. Did well on Charlie Curnow then.
Under 2:45 to go. Michael Voss coaching on the bench. What have the Blues learnt from the heartbreaking experiences? Pitnet knocks it to the front. Cripps tries to tunnel it out. May have almost thrown it. Dangerfield, beautiful one-handed pickup. Veers around to the right. High ball in the direction of Rowan. He sets himself against 3 Blues, including Charlie Curnow. Couldn't hang on to the mark. Had a big piece of it. One direction, Bruin. The other direction, Chera. Bruin takes it, misses Stengel. It's out on the full. And Carlton fans, the roar of relief. Free kick Carlton's way in the right back pocket as the crowd's posted at 55,861.
One roll, Chera coming off the ground.
I'm not 100% sure. If Carlton are thinking they can hang on, I don't reckon they can hang on for 2 minutes and keep Carlton out for 2 goals. Well, it's 2.5 minutes. It's 2.5 minutes. I don't think it's a good ploy by Carlton what they're doing.
Carlton by 8 points. Newman down the line, and Harry Mackay takes a back mark.
That helps.
At half back in front of the Geelong bench.
But he's looking to go backwards all the time. It's helping Geelong get set again and again and again. And it's not smart football.
Back and across to Sard, and now Sard just with the contest. Kick back down the wing. Back to Harry Mackay. Reaching over, he's got it again.
If he goes back, he's sillier than what I thought.
Right on halfway. One team wins from this position. More often than not, the other team seems to find a way to cough it up. And yet it's Carlton with the lead. 1:40 to go. The Blues by 8 points. Kicks to half forward. Turnover. Radagalier in front of the pack. Takes the intercept mark. Goes backwards to the back pocket for Izzy Smith.
Time to roll the dice. Long looking for Zach Guthrie. Up goes Mackay. Spills to close. Needs someone running past. Hand pass to Dangerfield. Just got the kick away as Akers laid the tackle. Wiedering led out against Hawkins. Wins the contest. Kicks towards the boundary line. How will the umpire view this? Throw it in.
Smart.
Good decision.
Yeah, very good.
Had Paddy Cripps there. The kick just missed the target.
Yeah. Umpire number 8. Smart.
It's Brett Roseberry.
Of course it is. He's the best umpire in the last 40 years.
Players love him. Well respected. Former coaches, current coaches. Everybody in the game. For the boundary throw in, Pitternet wins it down. Cam Guthrie hands it out to Blitz. Halves to Geelong. Pressure handball out wide. Atkins wants to keep it alive. Fisher trying to get Boot the ball. Still on the members' wing. Ed Curnow grabs it. Surge kick forward. Harry Mackay gets to it on the bounce. Tangles with Radagalier. At the back, Smith picks it up for Geelong. Hands it back to Asaba. Time running out for Geelong. Hand pass out of play. Throw in 60 out from the Carlton goal. And the Blues fans love that. We're inside the final minute. Carlton by 8 points. 13-12 to 12-10.
It's a two-kick game for the Cats, so time running out now. Thrown in, Blitzhouse and Pitnet. Blitzhouse over the back, got it to the runner, Bowes, looks up towards half forward. Cameron one way, coming out, Lewis Young takes the mark.
Wow, that's a good mark.
Game-winning mark. Jeremy Cameron's been enormous all match.
Now you can go backwards with the 2 scoring shots required. Just eat the clock now.
And Lewis Young becomes an instant fan favourite by that mark. Back to Charlie Curnow, who marks in the left back pocket. He gestures up to the southern wing. Long ball in the direction of Harry Mackay. In front, Zach Guthrie. Mackay takes the mark.
That's 3 marks he's taken.
The tall timber all combining as he chips it back to Doherty. And the sweetest sound will ring out. Carlton stare down their fears right in the eyes. And this time they hold on against the last finishing Cats. Carlton win by 8 points.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. We're all the champions they like to send up. We'll keep our end up. And they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark Blues.
The Blues led by 5 points at quarter time, by 8 points at half time, and by 23 points at 3/4 time. There was 4 lead changes throughout the first half, and the Blues got out by 28 points on 3 occasions before Jeremy Cameron kicked 3 of his 6 goals in the final term. And the Cats tried to claw their way back. They finished in the final term with 3 goals 4 to Carlton's 1-1. But this time the Blues had learnt the lessons of the past. 13-12-90 to Geelong 12-10-82. The Cats start 0-2 for the first time since 2015.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. We're all the champions they like to send up. We'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark Blues.
Charlie Curnow put it 5 for the winners. Matt Owie is with 3 individuals to Motlop, Harry Mackay, Durden, Fisher and Ed Curnow. Meanwhile, for the Cats, Jeremy Cameron put it 6, 3 of which in the final term. 2 to Ollie Henry. Individuals to Rowan, to Hawkins, to Close and to Blitzavs. The Blues winners by 8 points.
Feels like a fine margin. Clenchy between undefeated after 2 games and winless after 2 games. And Carlton, obviously, with a draw in round 1, we're right on that precipice tonight. For Geelong, they become the first premiership team since Hawthorn in 2009 to start 0-2, and on that occasion the Hawks went on to miss the 8 in their premiership defence. An 8-point win for Carlton. Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse with their initial thoughts on Grandstand AFL.
Well, so impressed with Carlton for 3/4, Mick, and what they did, and their pressure and their contest and their forward line and their ball movement. Positive, tick, 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 tick. But gee, that last quarter, Mick, what were the inside 50s in that last quarter? 18 to Geelong, 5 to Carlton.
Yeah.
They were immediately on the back foot and played that way as soon as Geelong started coming. So as much they get the win, so it will give them some confidence handling closer games, but I still don't think they handled it overly well in that last term.
Well, I thought they were quite terrible. Look, the last quarter, when it's 18-5 inside 50s, look, I have no doubt. The TV just went on to, or the cameras just went on to Chris Scott, and he looked dejected and so forth. I reckon he'd be thinking at 3/4 time, what happened against Collingwood the previous week, Collingwood the last 8, this could happen again. We've lost players again. This could very much happen again. Once Cameron kicked those first 2 goals, I reckon Carlton then went all into it. I've said this for now nearly two or 3 years. They go into a shell of which there's almost, it's like an abyss that they just can't climb out of. Now, let's look at the numbers. last quarter. Eddie Curnow, I thought Eddie was probably their best player in the last quarter.
Agreed.
Sard was very, very good all night. But where was Mackay's? He took the last 3 marks inside the last 5 minutes, so you can't blame him for not balks the ball, and he rarely went in there. Fisher was too bad. Jera 3 and 1. Paddy Cripps 1 and 2, and I reckon he lost his tag. So where was he?
Well, I think Tom Atkins started going to him in the last quarter then.
Yeah. When we said that, he ended up getting that one hand pass out. But McGovern stopped. They stopped. Outside of Sard, they stopped running. Their mids, all of a sudden it was, we'll find a target back, because the stats in the last quarter were 85 to 81. And I always look at it and say, how many times do you actually go backwards? And you go backwards. I know sometimes you go backwards to go around the Cape and all this sort of stuff. But when you go backwards for security, you are just inviting a very good football side to have one turnover and we'll get you. And let's face it, there was really only one turnover that caused that last goal. Who kicked the last goal for Carlton? I'm just trying to think who it was now.
Owies, was it?
Owies. That was a turnover that could have been the other way.
Yeah, that important
right
contest,
in the middle of the ground.
80 out from the Carlton goal, and if it was going Geelong's way,
absolutely,
that it was going to go quick. But then Carlton did win the ball. You're right. The game ebbed and flowed with around the contest.
Oh, yeah.
And whoever controlled that 50-50 ball and got it their way looked really dangerous. And Charlie Curnow looked dangerous. Harry Mackay was moving all right. I actually thought Sam De Koning, for everything that went on, was superb down back.
Was very good
for Geelong and held up pretty well. It was the first 3 quarters is a blueprint of the way Carlton should play. It's hard and strong around the contest. Lots and lots of pressure, create a turnover, and go in quicker and more often, and give that really good forward line a chance. You're right. So much then that now has to be reviewed again from that last quarter of, okay, so we handled the last minute probably really well. But let's not put ourselves in that position.
Yeah.
Let's do it from the first minute of the last quarter. So come the last minute, we're still 3 or 4 goals up. And we're not in that stressful scenario. But again, lots to like for Michael Voss and his team. Some things to fix up at the end of the game that unfortunately bit them on the backside last year, and they missed out on finals. They're just going to have to go through that process again and understand in a big game against a good team, every moment matters. Not just thinking the last minute moment matters. Every single moment matters.
Yeah, and not only every single moment, Lingy, but every player to play his role. It looks to me, it looks like my role has changed when we get under pressure. And where's Paddy? Where's Charlie? Where's Harry? Where are my players around me? Instead of taking charge of your direct responsibility, and I still think all games are won or lost, let's face it, around the ball.
I love they just let some of the young blokes lead them off there. Ollie Hollins was one of them. I tell you what, I reckon his name will be up on the whiteboard, Nick, and I reckon he'll be featuring a lot of film throughout the week. He ended up with 20 touches, but one of the most important ones with his courageous effort to get back in front of Jeremy Cameron and stop another shot at goal for Jeremy Cameron. That was a brilliant performance by Hollins.
Michael Voss might be the most relieved man in Melbourne. He's hugged every one of his players to the very back as the team makes their way in.
Hollins, Akers and Cowan all playing in their first win for Carlton tonight. The Blues home by 8 points. Failed to convert a fourth quarter lead in their last 3 matches stretching back to last season. The Melbourne game, the Collingwood game round 23, and then obviously the draw last week. They get it done tonight in a tense finish to hang on by 8 points. Let's get into the winners' rooms. Carlton home by 8 points. Tim Hodges.
Oh, you reckon this is a happy rooms? The Blue Baggers are up and about. The last of the players come in. Nick Newman, I think he's the last. They're going to have a lot of fun singing this. The first gamers are all in the middle. Adam Sard will join us, hopefully straight out of the song. Just cop some sports drink. Adam Sard is the last in. Mitch McGovern's the last in. And here we go, the Carlton song for the first time this season. What a happy rooms they are. We will bring you Adam Sard very shortly, guys.
Thanks, Hodgie. They led by 28 points, Carlton, on 3 separate occasions. Time on in the third term. An inspired final quarter from Jeremy Cameron. He kicked 3 of his 6 goals in the last term, got the Cats within 8 points. They couldn't get any closer, however, and in the end, Carlton able to hold out to win their first game of the young season. So they're 1 win, 1 draw through 2 on 6 premiership points.
The man that Hodgie is hopefully going to get us a chat with, Adam Sard, as he just mentioned. Brilliant tonight. Absolutely brilliant. I love what he has done, and together with Michael Voss giving him this role. Let's go back before last year, the year before last. I was critical at times that he was just trying to get touches and use his electric speed and run and bounce off half-back, which is great. That's one strength to his game. But I loved last year, he went back to playing on a really dangerous opponent and then using his run and bounce off half-back when the time was right. Well, that's exactly what he did tonight. He played on Tyson Stengel for the majority of the night, and Stengel got a couple of dangerous touches, but that's what quality players do. But didn't kick a goal, no. Tyson Stengel, and Adam Sard ended up with 29 disposals. So he's balanced between, I'm going to beat a really quality opponent, a really dangerous opponent, and I'm still going to find opportunities to run and create and use his good kicking and his speed and his bouncing. That's the version of Adam Sard that puts him in the elite company of the smaller defenders. That was a really impressive performance tonight.
I totally agree with you. He was terrific and very consistent through the game. Just you run through stats and you try to run through the games and you try to think, why is it that Carlton were able to hang on and why was it that Geelong? I thought they were under pressure for a lot of the game when they started losing a player or two, and then they brought them back on and this sort of stuff. Tui for 20 minutes or 15 minutes, that was a big loss. It was, and other players. The Cats' major problem right now is, and I know that they've got Duncan to come back, and I think he's going to be a good player, but I don't know when he's going to come back, and I think they'll get Jack Henry back, but it'll be back into the season and so forth.
Stewart.
Stewart, yeah, he's just... But you've got to win... You've got to park the wins in the back pocket early in the season because you don't want to be relying on, there's years. I know in coaching, Lingy, you probably is playing. You think, we'll get Stewart back and we'll get Henry back, but in the meantime, you've lost someone else and someone else and someone else. You never. It's one of those years when you just haven't quite got your full list. So when you haven't got your full list, you've just got to win a game or two with that list you've got and hang on and hang on and hang on because, quite frankly, there's not enough good sides in the competition to fill the top 8. It's going to be, to me, a 6th, 7th and 8th will fall to the ones that are injury-free more often than the others and might get a couple of wins that are unexpected. And this is where Geelong aren't out of it by a long shot. I mean, they've the last 2 games, I thought they've been belted by Collingwood and really only lost it in the last quarter. And today they were belted by Carlton for 2 quarters and almost got up and won it. So they're not far off. But you can't lose games, though.
My biggest concern, though, is their midfield.
Absolutely, I'm with you.
Cam Guthrie couldn't find the footy. He's ended up with 25 touches, but that's when he moved to half-back.
Had 6 at half-time.
Yeah, could not find the footy at all in the middle of the ground. Dangerfield had 22 again, but it wasn't a good 22 at all. Same with last week. Brandon Parfitt came on last week as the sub.
I just don't understand that.
And had 5 touches in pretty much the whole
Has he lost his confidence, Lingy? Do you know anything about it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Tom Atkins. I thought, actually, Atkins went and played on Cripps in the last quarter and kept him very quiet. So he did a role, but only found it 13 times. So
still he's 12 tackles, though. That's him.
That's him to a T. Tanner Bruin was aiming to come in and have an impact straight away. 10 touches. So I know it's not about possessions, not about numbers, but when 2 weeks in a row the opposition midfield have really got a hold of you, there'd just be a few concerns there about what the personnel needs to be. You can't put Joel Selwood in there for 18 minutes a quarter anymore.
No.
So there's 72 minutes a game that you need to find of a quality midfielder who's going to sustain intensity, hunting the footy, find the footy. And at the moment, that's the big work in progress for the Cats, that middle part of the ground.
Holmes
I thought was solid again and showed glimpses, and I think Holmes can be something special. But Holmes isn't going to go from being a solid, consistent, really exciting young player to a premium midfielder within a handful of games. His best football, his best season is probably in 2 seasons' time.
Yeah. Just on Radaglia, I hope that they stick with it. I'm sure Geelong will.
I thought
because I thought his game today, he's going to be a stand-up. You put him and De Koning in the back line. You've got your 2 key backs set for the next 10 years.
Cats are 0-2. Their draw gets a little softer, as does Carlton's, by the way. So for Geelong, they've got Gold Coast up there, Hawthorn back here at the MCG, and West Coast in Adelaide for gather round in their next 3. So they'll start a favourite in all of those. While for Carlton, they've got GWS in Sydney next week, North Melbourne back at the Docklands, and Adelaide in their next 3. So a chance to get away the Blues. 1 win, 1 draw through their opening fortnight. Let's head into the winners' rooms. Carlton by 8 points, full-time over Geelong. Tim Hodges.
Corbin, Adam Sard has been good enough to come out and join us. What emotion have you got right now, Adam? Is it just relief finally you got the 4 points?
Obviously, thanks for having me. Against the quality side like Geelong, we're just really happy that we played our brand for a longer time today, and to get away with the 4 points, it's a great feeling.
Can I just ask you about the moment? Just the 23 players went into not even the coach's meeting room, the rooms out the back. No one else was really invited. What was said in there?
We just obviously have a chat about the game, and you got to enjoy that moment straight after the win. And nothing much was said. We were just sort of sitting around and enjoying each other's company. So.
And then is it just relief, especially when it got really tight late after the last 3 games you've played in?
There was a bit of pressure, but we've been watching a lot of vision, and we've been practicing it at training, and to come away with an 8-point win against the reigning premier was awesome.
A couple of blokes upstairs loved your performance in particular. Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling upstairs.
Adam, well done on the victory and your game. It was absolutely outstanding. Loved your battle with Tyson Stengel, and you still attacked and took the game on. That last quarter, Geelong have 18 inside 50s. You guys have 5 inside 50s. So they were coming, and it was living there. You were in amongst it. It was in your defence. Can you talk us through the communication going on the field? What are you trying to get set up and fixed up to get the game back on your terms?
Yeah, it's obviously it's a great question. We knew Geelong were going to come because obviously they're a great team. Obviously when the ball gets kicked inside 50, we want to battle really hard and win our contest. But it was very loud out there. We couldn't even hear each other. But it's sticking to our system, and we knew they were going to try to come through the corridor. So to cover that, and there were some big moments from Harry McKay and Lewis Young late there with the mark, and I think we're improving in that area.
And throw in young Ollie Hollands as well. Hey Adam, that I think there was one play where the kick, I think Brad Close it was, had Jeremy Cameron on a full-blooded lead. It was going to hit him on the chest, and young Ollie got back into his space and got a hand on it. I mean, that's the way young blokes win respect amongst the senior group, isn't it?
Mate, he's been outstanding. He's been doing it all pre-season, and he's only a little guy, but he puts his body on the line, and he's earned the trust of the whole group, which has been great.
Adam, congratulations. I thought you were terrific. Just your attack on the football. Just tell me, what was the difference between today and last week when both sides seemed to have got locked up last week? There seemed to be a lot of mistakes made. What was it? First round nerves compared to what was expected today, and was there any differences in the strategies of today compared to last week?
Yeah, obviously, like in hindsight, it's great to watch the vision and improve in that area. I think last week, the last minute and a half, we had the footy again, but I think we got really adventurous. So we're just going to keep educating and learning this stuff, and trying to sort of ice the game. When we got a lead and trying to take time off the clock, which I thought we really improved on today.
Just on today, at 3/4 time, Geelong were under pressure with injuries and so forth, and for all intents and purposes looked like Carlton were really going to smash them, quite frankly. This is what we thought up here. And all of a sudden it just looked like you all went back into a shell, expecting other people to do it. I don't say you, because I thought you'd played a terrific last quarter. But is there enough talk out there, and who's delivering it? Like Paddy Cripps can't do it all over the ground. Does anyone else grab hold of it? It just looks like you've got a lot of quiet players that are waiting for something to happen, because Geelong, they were on the knees. And Cameron kicks the first 2 goals, all of a sudden there seems to be a little bit of, I won't say panic, it looks like expectation of, we don't win these games. So who controls the tempo down there?
Like obviously, Crip is obviously the captain and the leader, but we got Wiedering and Lewis Young has grown in that area, and just the senior boys. But I think as I mentioned before, we're just sort of really learning. And last year, if we get 2 goals kicked against us, probably that would have turned them probably 4 or 5. But I think we really stemmed the flow, and it was pretty even for like a 10-minute block right there. And then we sort of hung on, and it's amazing. Like I said, we learn from these victories, we learn from losses, and we just want to keep trying to improve and get better, which is, that's our aim.
Sure. Adam, it's Matt Clinchey. You've been around for almost a decade now. Does it feel like a breakthrough moment? It would be nice if it was a bit more convincing, but to do it in that manner, given the way the season ended last year, did it feel like it was a real significant moment for a young group?
Yeah, I reckon it was. Obviously, like I mentioned before, you're playing against one of the best teams in the comp, and to sort of hang on and for guys to step up in big moments was a really big step forward for this group. So, we're not playing our best footy now. We want to keep building and trying to get even more consistent, which is, that's the aim for the near future.
And the battle between Charlie Curnow and Jeremy Cameron at different ends. And in that last minute, Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow were both in the back half. So it feels like even though they were dominating up front, they were playing their team role in that last couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think Harry took 3 or 4 marks late or in the last 5 minutes, and Charlie took 1, or just their presence up forward and even getting them back, and they make a contest. They either mark or get it to the feet, but I reckon it was amazing to see blokes step up in massive moments for the club.
Adam, it's Corbin Middlemaz. First of all, Ramadan Mubarak, obviously a big month for you, or a big couple of months, which is just starting. Can you just give us some insight as to what it's like being a footballer during this period and how you approach this next month ahead? Yeah, thanks.
It's I appreciate that. Yeah, I really have conversations with Basha, and it's the holy month for Muslims around the world, and we're not fasting just from food and drink. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to it. It's a spiritual month, it's a month of reflection, a month of forgiveness, and Islam and being a Muslim is a way of life for me. So, I have conversations with the coaching group and with the fitness coaches, and we set out a good program for me. I think the attention to detail with your recovery, with your prep, just with everything goes through the roof as well. So I really love playing through Ramadan.
I know you're getting dragged into a meeting. Just one more on this. I remember interviewing Anthony Mundine about it, and he used to always say he feels like he trained better during Ramadan, and his body was always better despite the fasting, obviously, that went on during the day. Do you notice any improvements or setbacks in you as an athlete, obviously, during this time?
Yeah, God gives us the strength during this month, and I think it's just the mental resilience, It's amazing what the body can do and what you can go through, and I sort of find new limits during this month, and I'm just so grateful to be here.
You were excellent again tonight, Adam, inshallah. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Adam Sard, All-Australian halfback inside the Carlton rooms on the back of their 8-point victory over Geelong. Of course, the holy month of Ramadan starting last night, so it continues on for the next month or so. So a number of players in the competition will obviously find that challenge as well to coincide with their football. So Adam Sard, obviously, one of those.
Yeah, good start to it for Adam Sard. He was outstanding. He really was.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 for Corby for his pronunciation as well.
Yeah, well done, Corbs.
March 22 through to April 21, so near enough on a month, the month of Ramadan.
You guys spoke about it post-game a little bit. Did it feel like a breakthrough moment for Carlton? And I guess the unfortunate moment for the Geelong fans with Jack Bowes sort of going from hero to villain. It might have been a little bit closer had he been able to kick that goal, and all of a sudden Jeremy Cameron's goal might have sort of made it, inside a goal.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it, Lingy.
No, it's
because of that. Because just what you just said then Matty, because he kicks that goal, I also said I had no faith after Cameron kicked the first 2 goals. I'm thinking Carlton have just fed him. They have gone into a bigger shell or cave. And like they say, Wiedering stands up. He's like Matthew Cruiser. I mean, they should call him Humphrey B. Bear because you don't see him talk about anything. How can he inspire you?
What I would say is it's funny how even if it didn't work, it wasn't working, they still won, so they will start to draw some belief on it. So no, they haven't. It's not a breakthrough, but it just might be the slightest little something to grab onto that they can build on, and it might be the last 2 minutes, and they go, okay, we handled the last 2 minutes well. And then, okay, well, now we need to understand what happened for the rest of the last quarter. So let's start working on that. And it's weird how the result can still dictate what they think they got out of it.
It's got to be a psychological boost, surely. Just to know that you've won, even if all that stuff and the practicalities of it didn't unfold well, but just to know that, hey, the next time we're in this scenario, we've been on the right side of it once in the past, rather than a sequence of losses building up.
It's the monkey off the back, if nothing else.
Yeah, if nothing else. However, when a team becomes a truly great team, you just know everything that you're doing. You understand it. You nail each moment. Everyone's set up. I know that if I go there, someone's coming behind me. I almost don't even have to look over my shoulder. Someone's going to come in behind me. We're going to cover that. I know that this set up, and then we're going to go to work at the contest. We win the ball. We get it forward. And the game never gets close. So that's their next evolution, is to really make sure at three-quarter time the game is in their control. That at the 12-minute mark of the last quarter, the game is done. They have just dominated that first 10, 12 minutes, and it doesn't mean they need to kick 8 goals in that period, but they just do not let Geelong score, and they kick 2 or 3 goals, and the game's finished then. And you never have to worry about the stresses after that.
Yeah, but that's all... Yeah,
that's to come is what I'm saying. That's the evolution they have to go to.
I think if they've learned anything today, it's you put Mackay behind the ball. Or you put Mackay 40, 50 metres in front of the ball and you kick the ball into a position. Don't worry about him being full forward. Bring him up the ground because you know one of two things will happen. He'll either mark it or he'll bring the ball to ground. And therefore, you bees around a honeypot, you make sure that's where the ball's going to go unless you can lateral the ball and get it moving. The other thing is that they've got to get rid of is safety of going backwards. You talk to the Geelong last year, it was so obvious that they just didn't go back. They went forward. Collingwood, don't go back. I can tell you that categorically. I speak to Craig McRae. You know, it's almost a sin to go back because you don't want to be in this position. You want to make sure you squeeze up the opposition and make the mistake and get the mistakes done up the ground. I reckon they went back far too many times. What they'll learn is bring Mackay up. He can be the outlet. Just go to him, or you go lateral, and don't have him right back in the goal square thinking, well, he doesn't touch the football. He doesn't touch it because they didn't get the ball down to him. So I guess there's little lessons to be learned.
It's like the golfer who leads by 2 shots heading into the final hole. You just need 4 good shots to make par and you shake hands and walk out. But the confidence to know that you can execute under that pressure.
4 shots, yeah.
I think the Carlton fans are still a bit rickety watching that all unfold.
And what I would say is, to talk about that confidence, golfer standing over a shot knowing I've just got to nail this. It's the same as if Carlton create a turnover at half-back and they see somebody in the middle of the ground on the 45-degree angle that is open and they can hit it, just hit
Take
it.
it.
Just
Take
hit it
Yep.
and burn them the other way and kick another goal and then say, there you go, now try and catch us.
Yeah.
Take that on. You've got to make
that was there
that
today
shot.
too, Lingy. That was there. Look, I reckon they use that ball for 3 quarters. They use it perfectly because I'm not big on go through the corridor just for the sake of going through the corridor. You go through the corridor if it's there.
Yeah.
And Geelong fell off that. Geelong allowed, particularly that second goals to, or third quarter, was it 6 goals to...
6 goals to 4.
To 4, and it was 4 straight. But then they went to sleep on that, or they just didn't have the nerve for that.
The story of the night, so Carlton winning by 8 points. They did lead by 28 points on 3 separate occasions late in the third term. And then Jeremy Cameron really had it on a string. He single-handedly tried to drag Geelong over the line. He kicked 3 of his 6 goals in the final term. Charlie Curnow kicked 5 for Carlton. The Blue Baggers hung on to win by 8 points. So they're undefeated. 1 win, 1 draw through the opening fortnight of the season, while Geelong are 0-2. They're the first reigning premiers to start 0-2 since 2009 when the Hawks did it. They missed the 8 that year. I don't think we're having those conversations just yet about the Cats, but Mick, are they more likely to win the flag or miss the 8? If you had to have one or the other on Geelong from here.
Win the flag. I can't see it. There's too many weak sides in the competition. If you had 14 teams, then you might say, well, they may well miss it if they have a final 6. But there's so many weak sides. You've already said it. The next 3 games, they should just slaughter the opposition, quite frankly.
All right, maybe this might be just a little bit more difficult. If we're playing a pick-up game and basically every player in the competition's available, we've seen Charlie Curnow tonight pop through 5 at one end and Jeremy Cameron kick 6 at the other. Who are you taking first?
If I've got a 1-year deal, I'd take Cameron. If I've got a 5-year deal, I'd take Curnow. This one's 30, the other one's 25.
Great answer.
It's a good answer. What would you say, Lingy?
No, I'm with Mick on that answer. Oh, mind you, I'd have Jeremy Cameron for a couple more than one.
Well, what I'm saying, I think if he goes 5, I think Curnow will go 10.
So Curnow's 26. Yeah.
26, yeah.
Okay. Oh, his best footy's still ahead of him.
Yeah, isn't it?
Wow.
He might be Geelong's best forward and best midfielder.
Jeremy Cameron, he was tonight.
Cameron,
Because
he just, well, you'll tell me this, because he can run all day and he can mark anywhere on the ground.
I've still got Joel Selwood's words ringing in my ear when Jeremy Cameron first came down. Now, this is Joel Selwood, who played with some of the best footballers of all time and the best footballers in Geelong's history. He said to me when we caught up, he goes, I've never seen a better athlete in my entire life than Jeremy Cameron. Wow. The way he moves, the way he runs, his size, his agility, all the elements. He goes, I've never witnessed it before. I'm like, oh, settle down, mate. You know, you played with this bloke and that bloke. He goes, you just watch what he can do.
The number 5 seems to fit pretty well on his back. There's a fair bit of weight of history that he's wearing, but he seems to carry it okay with 6 tonight. Give us the votes then, Lingy, in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Carlton by 8 points, full-time over the Cats.
I can do that, Corbs. I'm going to give one vote to Adam Sard, the man we just had a chat to. I thought his job on Stengel, a super dangerous player and looked dangerous at times, but held goalless and had 29 disposals, 10 intercept possessions, run, carry, brave with his ball, but he plays on someone too.
Yep.
I love that balance that he's got in his game now. Terrific. 2 votes to Charlie Curnow, 5 goals, and was just brilliant. And the only reason he didn't kick a couple more was they never got the ball down to him in the last quarter. He was held goalless in the last quarter, but through no fault of his own. And that leaves 3 votes, best on ground, to the player in the losing team. 25 disposals, pumped the ball inside forward 56 times, and kicked 6 himself. So he was belting it in there. And he was marking it in there.
He was marking the kicks.
Oh, he did it all.
Quick.
He was the best player on the ground.
I don't think you're going to get any complaints on that front, Lingy. 3 for Cameron, 2 for Charlie Curnow, 1 for Adam Sard. Round 2's underway. Thursday night footy in the books. Carlton by 8 points over Geelong. Now, the rest of the round, Friday night footy's interstate tomorrow night. It is Brisbane and Melbourne. Little fascinating backstory between these two teams. So the last time they went to Brisbane, there was the whole sort of 3/4 time unsavoury incident with Zorko and Petty, and Zorko back in tomorrow night. Melbourne get even stronger from the round 1 team that did a job on the Bulldogs here last Saturday. So Viney, Fritsch and May all coming back in for the Demons tomorrow night. Of course, it was Brisbane who eliminated Melbourne from last year's final series, sent them out in straight sets. So a nice little bit of recent history between the two teams.
I rate Melbourne super highly this year, but beware the overreaction to Brisbane's performance last week. They were terrible last week, Brisbane. They won't be the same. I'm going to tip Brisbane only because it's at home.
No, I go for Melbourne. I don't want to call them frauds, but they just don't play finals footy enough in the finals.
7 p.m. tomorrow night, our coverage starts Australian Eastern Daylight Time. And for those of you, wherever you are around the country, ABC Sport Digital and through the Listen app, just look out for the AFL button. Clinchy, you're on the lead, 12 noon on Saturday. Lingy will be with you, and Adam Ramanauskas, of course, leading into to Collingwood, Port Adelaide here at the G, which is another interesting game. And obviously Sports Talk for those of you in WA and SA Grandstand in South Australia. The other news of the day, Mick, very quickly, Shane McAdam failing in his appeal, so he'll miss 3 games. Keziah Pickett's going to miss 2. Is that fair?
No, it's not fair. It's not fair. Both should have got 4.
Both?
Absolutely.
I thought McAdam 3, Pickett 4.
Well, I'd go both 4 because, now, yesterday I'd say, get over it, it's a good hit. No, we know the good hits now are not what we want in this football environment. And you've got to strike now, and the AFL should strike.
Mick, great to see you. Thanks, Lingy. Thanks to Matt Clinch, to Tim Hodges downstairs, to Stu Baker, our tech, to Aaron back in the studio, and to Ben Cameron. That's it from the MCG. The Baggers are on the board in 2023 with an 8-point win over the Cats.
We're all the champions. They like to send up. We'll keep our end.